Chapter 43-81. The eyes of the leader turned cold, but he was still looking down. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Those dark goblins are over there. TSK, there are a lot of them. Tisk, dark goblins had intelligence and were very cunning. They wouldn't appear in places where there were many experts. Therefore, this steel flood rarely encountered dark goblins. Go catch those dark goblins. Tisk. Soon after, the expert called Tionk brought everyone down. A snail appeared in Tionk's hand. The snail was about the size of a palm and there were red ripples on its shell. It was very strange. However, Lin Ling felt that those snails seemed to be able to restrain the dark goblins. Sure enough, in the vast universe, there was always something that could restrain another. If you don't want to die, get lost. Tisk. Lin Ling still didn't attack. He issued the final ultimatum. This was because he noticed that although the steel torrent was powerful, only the leader was a mid-stage low god. The rest were all early-stage low gods. Moreover, the mid-stage low god Tionk's divine embryo was merely a 7th-grade divine embryo. Ants, you want us to die? You really don't know the difference between life and death. Don't think that you can look down on everyone just because you are following the dragon race. If you provoke us, we will even kill the dragon race. After hearing Lin Ling's words, Tionk sneered and ignored Lin Ling for the time being. He was still staring at the dark goblins not far away. I don't care where you came from. You only have 3 breaths of time to think. If you mess up my plan, you will all die. Seeing this group of people approaching the dark goblins, Lin Ling's heart was boiling with anger. It wasn't easy for him to lure these dark goblins out. After they arrived, they wanted to snatch his harvest. Were they trying to provoke Lei Gong? What a big tone. Wait, the first one we will kill is you. Seeing that Lin Ling was still talking nonsense, a divine soldier behind Tionk immediately shouted angrily. Another divine soldier beside him nodded and sneered. I don't know where this group of people came from, but they should be related to the Jojo Void. They are really ignorant. It is only the Jojo Void. We, the Xianling realm, do not dominate it. It's just that our country hasn't crossed the Kaiyuan River yet. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the qualifications to speak. Don't worry, after we catch the dark goblins, except for the dragon clan, we will kill the rest. The others also spoke one after another. Their words caused the expressions of Luo Shen and the others to change. This was because other than the radiant golden dragon, the others did not know the origins of this group of people. Looking at General Tionk again, he had already stealthily walked towards the front of the forest with a snail in his hand and a smile on his face. No. Lin Ling did not dare to act rashly, but after seeing General Tionk's actions, he knew that something bad was about to happen. The black goblins were bound to escape. Bang! Lin Ling's body moved. He finally rushed over to stop General Tionk. At this moment, General Tionk was still quietly moving forward with the snail in his hand. However, a smile appeared on his face because he noticed that there were a lot of dark goblins in the forest. It was beyond his imagination. But at this moment, a divine essence arrived behind him, causing General Tionk to snort coldly. He knew that the arrogant youth from before had made his move. You're courting death. General Tionk roared angrily. His divine essence also erupted, forming a white light that enveloped his body. The protective divine light actually produced a roaring sound like a river. Boom! At the same time, Lin Ling's attack arrived. His fist landed on General Tionk's body, but a terrifying explosion of energy erupted from General Tionk's body. General Tionk was actually unscathed after receiving Lin Ling's punch head-on. This caused Lin Ling's eyes to narrow. Although General Tionk was very strong, it was impossible for him to face Lin Ling head-on without fear. That's all you've got? At this moment, General Tian Ke lowered his head and looked at Lin Ling. His eyes were full of disdain. Too weak. As soon as he finished speaking, his palm suddenly expanded like a balloon. Moreover, it was full of dense long hair that was growing, just like the arm of a divine ape. Unparalleled invincible body. He punched out and landed on Lin Ling's chest, sending Lin Ling flying like a cannonball. Trash. After doing this, he also ran towards the black goblin step by step. Lin Ling was madly flying backwards using 300,000 world speed. However, he also saw that the black goblins had finally begun to retreat. Damn it! This also caused Lin Ling to curse because he was so close to obtaining a large amount of black goblins. However, that hateful General Tian Ke interrupted him. If General Tian Ke had succeeded, it would have been fine. He, Lin Ling, could snatch the black goblins back later. However, he knew that General Tian Ke also wanted to. He had failed. What an arrogant trash. He actually took the initiative to provoke a general. General Tian Ke's unparalleled invincible body is now a 7th grade divine fetus. He can transform into a giant ape. That punch should have killed this trash. Looking at the flying Lin Ling, the divine soldiers said with disdain. What a powerful force. Light Golden Dragon and the others were still sitting on the ground. However, they were also shocked. Among them, Luotian frowned and said, that Lei Gong, could it be that he is dead? It's possible because that divine general seems to be a mid-stage lower god and has a powerful divine fetus. How could Lin Ling block it? 3 spirits and Qing Mo both nodded. This was the most powerful god they had ever seen, second only to the 4 great gods. At this moment, General Tian Ke was still moving forward, carefully approaching the forest. Then, he excitedly took out the snail in his hand and activated his divine essence, wanting to release the red spiral pattern. However, even though he was already very careful, he still alarmed the black spirit. Just as he raised the snail, the black spirit in the forest appeared. The black goblins slyly disappeared. Damn it, my life spirit. This also caused General Tian Ke to be stunned and he could not help but curse. In fact, he did not know that the moment Lin Ling moved, the black goblins were already alarmed because these black goblins had locked onto Lin Ling's group. As long as Lin Ling and the others approached the black goblins would retreat. Rumble. 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 Lin Ling fell to the ground. However, Lin Ling was not injured at all. He quickly stood up, but his face was cold. Damn it, in the end, it was all for naught. Then, he walked back step by step. At this moment, Light Golden Dragon and the others were depressed because they also wanted these experts to take the black goblins away. However, it was obvious that they had failed. This meant that they were still being hunted down. However, soon, they saw Lin Ling walking back. Other than the dragon and the others, Luotian and the others were all shocked. Of course, even General Tian Ke and the others were shocked. General Tian Ke looked at Lin Ling who was walking back and sneered, "Your skin is really thick. You didn't die after taking a punch from me. However, it's good that you didn't die. Now, I can vent my frustration of failing to capture the life spirits on you." Chapter 4382. With that, these divine weapons also burst out with 50,000 world speed and surrounded Lin Ling. They were all in the deity realm and were not weak at all. Brat, kneel down obediently. In your next life, remember not to provoke the immortal spirit empire. This is not something you can afford to provoke. One of the divine weapons waved his right hand and a golden chain shrouded Lin Ling. Upon closer inspection, one could see that there were 3,000 strands of divine energy in it. All of you must die. Lin Ling's face was filled with murderous intent. Then, he activated the second stage of talent fusion and punched out. Clang! The golden chain was shattered by Lin Ling's punch. Lin Ling's fist was like an angry vajra. After destroying the golden chain, Lin Ling did not slow down. With the speed of 100,000 worlds, his 7 dantians fused with his terrifying divine energy and crashed into the divine weapon. Kacha! The divine weapon flew backward as if it had been hit by a divine mountain. Then, it exploded in midair. You're courting death. Seeing this, all the divine weapons were enraged. They activated their techniques and tried to kill Lin Ling. Boom! Boom! However, Lin Ling's killing intent was already aroused. He did not resist and only used his fists to greet the divine weapons. And this pair of fists contained 800,000 world power and 4,000 strands of divine energy. It was terrifying. In addition, Lin Ling was now at the second stage of talent fusion. The human monarch's flame, Thunderlock True Body, and Bodhi Vajra were all 7th-grade divine embryos. This made his body even tougher than heaven and earth. Even the great Tao could not kill him. Pang! One of the divine soldiers was struck by Lin Ling's punch, shattering his sturdy divine armor that was an 8th-grade innate divine weapon. Then, a fist pierced through the divine soldier's stomach, causing his blood, flesh, and intestines to splatter all over the divine soldier's face, scaring him out of his wits. However, before he could speak, Lin Ling had already pounced on him. With a leap, his leg turned into a long whip and swept out. Crash! Large intestines, blood, and bones spilled out. That divine weapon was split into 2, and there was no way to stop it. Puff! Puff! Pop! Pop! In the blink of an eye, all the deities present were killed by Lin Ling alone. When the last deity's head was smashed open by Lin Ling, his brain matter splattered all over the ground. In a short period of time, the entire ground was covered in flesh and blood. Broken armor and treasures were scattered all over the ground, as if something had crushed them. Not only were they shocked by Lin Ling's strength, but they were even more shocked by Lin Ling's violence. Moreover, Lin Ling dared to use his body to resist the attack of a low god. This was simply inconceivable. Even Luotian and the others, who had seen Lin Ling in action before, were frightened. After all, during the battle in Lei Gong's Grand Hall, Lin Ling had mostly relied on treasures to suppress his opponents. When had he ever displayed such powerful physical strength? It seems that I have underestimated you. However, you are still no match for me. Unparalleled invincible. General Tian Ke quietly narrowed his eyes. After that, he no longer spoke. His arms shook and became huge. He spat out a blood-red moon from his mouth. After the moon floated up, General Tian Ke quietly grew in size. He was actually transforming into an ancient great ape. This ancient great ape was covered in long red hair. He was as tall and sturdy as a mountain. After transforming, he constantly hammered his chest, causing earth-shattering sounds to erupt. In a distant place, the torrential steel cavalry also saw General Tian Ke's transformation. They all knew that General Tian Ke had encountered something difficult to deal with. Otherwise, General Tian Ke would not have returned to his original body. I want to see how thick your skin is. After transforming, the ancient divine ape began to chant incantations. With a crash, the enormous fist came crashing down as if it was crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. This fist contained the power of 7,000 rays of God. When it smashed down, strong winds howled on the ground. All the trees tumbled and floated into the distant sky like straw. As for the light golden dragon and the others on the ground, their expressions changed drastically. They were deeply afraid of being killed by the huge fist. Humph. However, Lin Ling snorted coldly. Instead of dodging, he stomped his foot on the ground and shot into the sky. Lin Ling is crazy. Seeing Lin Ling's actions, Luo Shen and the others were frightened. This was because Lin Ling was actually resisting the fist of a mid-stage low god with his physical body. One should know that the difference between an early-stage low god and a mid-stage low god was like heaven and earth. The gap between them was not something that an ordinary person could make up for. The third stage. Lin Ling naturally noticed the gap. However, it was not impossible for him to make up for it. This was because he could fuse his 7 great talents with his energy center at the same time. A strand of gray robe shot into the sky. An aura of nirvana permeated the sky. The light golden dragon was the first to notice it. His expression changed drastically. This was because he had a different idea from the others. He had always felt that Lin Ling could defeat General Tian Quebec. Now that he saw Lin Ling's aura change, he was even more certain of his guess. Rumble. The gray robe collided with the gigantic ape's palm. Following a loud boom, the gigantic ape's palm began to split open. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Roar. The gigantic primordial divine ape let out a roar of pain. Its right arm continued to split open like a bamboo blossoming. Splash. Large amounts of flesh and blood rained down and landed on the light golden dragon and the others. They trembled in fear because they saw that Lin Ling's fist was indestructible. Not only did it shatter General Tian K's fist, it even destroyed his right arm. My skin is very thick. I wonder if your skin is as thick as mine. After General Tian K's arm was crippled, Lin Ling rushed to General Tian K's cheek. His cold voice finally caused General Tian K to panic. Our army is right there. He spoke in human language. Clearly, he was afraid and wanted to use the army in the distance to intimidate Lin Ling. It's none of my business. Not only was Lin Ling not afraid, he even punched out. General Tian K had 7,000 strands of godly power, while Lin Ling had 6,000 strands of godly power in his third fusion. However, he had 7 dantians and godly power from 1,500,000 worlds. Crushing General Tian K was as easy as flipping his hand. Boom! This punch landed on General Tian K's gigantic ape head, directly splitting his head open, causing him to be stunned on the spot. Following that, a ferocious force exploded within his head, and he could only shout one sentence, "No." Boom! Boom! His mountain-like ape head exploded, and scalding brain matter and blood crazily splattered onto the ground. Rumble! Then, his gigantic body collapsed like a mountain. One punch? A mid-stage lower god only needs one punch. The 3 spirits stared at the gray-robed figure in the sky and stuttered. He's so strong. I'm afraid only the primogenitors can fight him. The light golden dragon had long known about Lin Ling's strength. However, after seeing it with his own eyes, he finally understood where Lin Ling's strength came from. Chapter 4383. Kill all those people. A majestic voice suddenly rang out. From the steel torrent, a pair of cold eyes looked over. What was shocking was that they could only see the cold eyes and nothing else. Kill! Kill! Following that voice, the steel torrent in the distance split into a large number of divine weapons and swept towards Lin Ling's direction. Lin Ling is finished. Kill! On the ground, Luo Shen and the others narrowed their eyes and then gloated. Although Lin Ling was very strong, it was impossible for him to fight against the entire steel torrent alone. Wait, that person said to kill all of them. Kill! Suddenly, Xiaofan seemed to have recalled something and immediately shouted. His words made everyone react. How could they be bothered to gloat? Now, it could be said that a great disaster was about to befall them. Wait, we did not kill them. This matter has nothing to do with us. Kill. The giant figure also roared towards the distance. However, the steel torrent in the distance had already left, leaving behind a group of iron-blooded soldiers. Stop shouting. They will not listen. Even if they listen, with the prestige of the immortal spirit nation, they will not care. The bright golden dragon stood up. He knew that this time, he would have to fight side by side with Lin Ling. Then don't we have to help Lin Ling? But I'm Yoshin's man. Luoshan's face was gloomy. She could help anyone, but to help Lin Ling, she really could not accept it. What else can we do? That group of people received the order to kill without mercy. Whether Lin Ling is dead or not, they will not let us go. So, it's better that Lin Ling is not dead. At least we have a chance of escaping. The bright golden dragon said indifferently. Damn it! The three spirits cursed angrily, but there was nothing they could do. You guys save yourselves. I will not help you. Just as they were gloomy, Lin Ling's voice floated over. His face was full of indifference. Fuck. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the three spirits were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Die. At this time, Lin Ling had already made his move. He rushed into the sky and punched out. Boom. Boom. A large amount of flesh and armor scattered down. They were killed by Lin Ling's punch. However, this group of people were worthy of being iron-blooded divine soldiers. Their expressions did not change as they rushed towards Lin Ling and the rest again. And even split off a group of experts to kill the bright golden dragon. Kill. At this point, the bright golden dragon and the rest were killed. Dragon. In the sky, a man in black armor stood there and stared at the radiant golden dragon and the others. He recognized their origins. You must be one of the 7 great divine marshals. I've long heard of the 7 great divine marshals of the immortal spirit peerless nation. Now that I've seen you with my own eyes, your aura is indeed extraordinary. The bright of the dragon 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 of the dragon dragon of the dragon of the dragon dragon. I met the dragon god of the Dragon Valley once in the past, and we have not interfered with each other's business. However, there is one thing that cannot be forgiven, and that is the people from the immortal spirit nation who killed us. Although I know that this has nothing to do with you, the military order has already been given. Even the dragon god cannot save you. The black-armored man said calmly. You don't have to explain anything. I already know your character. However, you should take care of that guy first. The radiant golden dragon transformed into a dragon and spoke in human language. Who is this person? He is quite strong. Hearing this, the black-armored man immediately looked at Lin Ling. He already knew that the person who could defeat General Tian Ke was not just a person with an undeserved reputation. His name is Lin Ling. Of course, your immortal spirit nation is on the other side of the Kaiyuan River, so you probably don't know who Lin Ling is. Therefore, if I say that he is the new Lei Gong of the Lei Gong Hall, you will probably know who he is. The bright golden dragon said sarcastically. As soon as he finished speaking, the black-armored man's eyes flashed and he said solemnly, the 4 great gods? Lei Gong? He obviously knew about the Lei Gong Hall, but he did not expect the new Lei Gong to be so young. What? You don't dare to touch him? The bright golden dragon said immediately when he saw the black-armored man remaining silent. What do you think? The black-armored man asked instead of answering. However, his words let the bright golden dragon know that this person also dared to kill Lei Gong. This person did not even give face to the dragon tribe, so why would he be afraid of Lin Ling? Even if the previous Lei Gong was here, as long as there was a military order, this person would still dare to kill him. New Lei Gong, I am one of the 7 divine generals of the immortal spirit nation in Jiangnan. I have been ordered to kill you. Then, the black-armored man looked at Lin Ling and snorted coldly. Boom! At this moment, Lin Ling's palm struck out and destroyed a large number of divine soldiers. Then, with a grab of his right hand, a divine soldier was sucked over. Lin Ling grabbed him by the neck, and with a twist of his hand, he separated the man's head from his body. Then, he looked at the black-armored man indifferently and said, "You? Do you think you can kill me? I don't think it's difficult." The black-armored man nodded and said, "Although you are one of the 4 great gods and killing you is no small matter, it's a pity that this is the military order. So, killing you is not something I should consider. I'll say it again. Can you kill me? Don't boast too early." Lin Ling said indifferently. He could sense that this black-armored man was also an early-stage low god, but his strength was much stronger than General Tian Quebec. Moreover, as one of the 7 divine generals, this seemed to mean something. "You will know," the black-armored man said calmly. After he finished speaking, he took a step forward and charged at Lin Ling. His speed was very fast, reaching 200,000 world speed. When he took a step forward, 990 afterimages appeared, dazzling everyone's eyes. One of the afterimages appeared behind Lin Ling and chopped down at Lin Ling with his hand. The power of this hand chop had reached the 9,000 mark. As one of the 7 divine generals of the immortal spirit nation, this person's strength was indeed impressive. If one were to compare, this person would be one of the strongest trial takers among the 4 great gods. His cultivation was only at the mid-stage low god level, but it would not be difficult for him to resist a late-stage low god. Speed, not bad. Lin Ling seemed to have not reacted, but his right arm had already punched out fiercely. His grey robe fluttered in the wind as if to prove the power of the fusion of the 7 dantians. This punch was thrown out quickly, and it went past Jiang Nan's chop and hit Jiang Nan's dantian. If Jiang Nan was determined to hurt Lin Ling, he would definitely be injured. Chapter 43-84. This was also a situation where he and Lin Ling were both heavily injured. It was obviously not worth it. There were plenty of opportunities to kill Lin Ling. Why would he miss this move? Bang! He stomped his feet in the air and instantly stomped a few 100 million times. With a burst of terrifying speed, his body immediately floated backward like the wind. Luai's real form. However, at this moment, a pair of thunder wings appeared behind Lin Ling. After a slight movement, he rushed toward Jiang Nan. Lin Ling's speed had also reached the limit of 250,000 world speed. Golden flames appeared on Lin Ling's left hand, and green flames appeared on his right hand. It was the Bodhi Vajra. 10,000 great heavenly flames. Black Bodhi's Wrath King, thunderous wrath shattering the void. Various colors of Bodhi light appeared and finally turned black, suppressing Jiang Nan. So fast. Jiang Nan had just retreated when he sensed Lin Ling's arrival. His expression changed, and he fiercely struck out with both hands to resist Lin Ling's attack. Boom! It was as if 2 gods had collided, and a terrifying shockwave erupted. The divine weapons that approached the 2 were immediately killed by the divine wind. After the collision between Jiang Nan and Lin Ling, he sensed a sense of danger, so a mysterious power was suddenly born in his body. With that power, his body bounced back. This Lin Ling is just a lesser god. Why is he so strong? As he retreated, Jiang Nan was shocked. He knew that Lin Ling had killed General Tian Ke without using his full strength. However, Lin Ling was also shocked. Because he had not held back in the previous 2 palms, and he had exploded with full strength. However, after clashing with Jiang Nan, he did not gain any advantage. One had to know that he had used the 3rd stage of his talent fusion. As expected, one of the 7 divine generals must have a very high status in this supreme overlord nation. After that, Lin Ling secretly guessed. He did not believe that Jiang Nan, who was so strong, would be a nameless existence in the supreme overlord nation. As expected of Lei Gong. No wonder he's as famous as the four great gods at such a young age. At this time, Jiang Nan also raised his head to look at Lin Ling and nodded solemnly. It seems that I should use my true strength. Otherwise, it will be really difficult to kill you. I also want to see how strong your full strength is. Come on. Lin Ling also replied calmly, condensing his divine essence once more, returning to his peak state. Pop! Pop! At this time, a mysterious force suddenly spread out. It was like a blossoming flower that was constantly expanding. In a short period of time, everyone within a radius of 10,000 miles seemed to be trapped in a mysterious space. Absolute world. Seeing that mysterious feeling appear, the eyes of all the divine weapons flickered, and even their faces began to show signs of breaking down. He displayed his talent. The divine fetus seems to be a 9th grade one. Lin Ling also looked at Jiang Nan and sensed that there was a strange force blooming in the latter's body. Lin Ling had encountered this force before. It was this force that allowed Jiang Nan to avoid Lin Ling's palms. However, this time, the force was much stronger than before. What's going on? Looking at Xiao Er and the others, they all stopped because the divine weapons no longer surrounded them. Instead, they stood in the distance and looked at Jiang Nan motionlessly. From their expressions, it could be seen that these divine weapons seem to be unafraid of death. It seems that there's some trouble. The bright golden dragon frowned instantly. However, he did not intend to leave at this moment because he had a feeling that they could no longer leave. Bang! Bang! At this time, a deep sound finally rang out, as if a giant cowhide drum was shaking. However, if one looked carefully, there was no change within a radius of 10,000 miles, making it impossible to know where the sound came from. Lin Ling was also puzzled at first, but his soul power was sharp, so he immediately sensed that the source of the sound was actually around him. No, it should be said that it came from the air. This was the sound of spiritual energy being compressed. Lin Ling also reacted instantly because he realized that the spiritual energy in the surroundings was being compressed by a terrifying force. Moreover, this spiritual energy was the spiritual energy within a radius of 10,000 miles, so after it was constantly compressed, the force was extremely terrifying. Space is constantly being compressed. Is this his talent? Lin Ling's eyes flickered. Whoosh! The spiritual energy within a radius of 10,000 miles was being compressed, and the spiritual energy outside of 10,000 miles was like a tide, turning into a visible white ribbon, constantly surging toward Lin Ling. This also caused the spiritual energy and air within 1,000 miles of Lin Ling and the others to reach a terrifying level. Boom! 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 Next, those divine soldiers immediately suffered. As if they were being compressed by something, their bodies started to distort and then continued to explode. What was shocking was that the distortion seemed to have started from inside their bodies. Obviously, this was the power of compression. Boom! 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 More and more divine soldiers exploded and died. Their blood also disappeared quickly because it was also being compressed. Save me! Looking at Xiao Er and the others, as long as they were not gods, they were all in danger. Come to me quickly. Fortunately, the light golden dragon was several times stronger than the divine soldiers and was someone who could fight against Jiang Nan. Of course, it was only a fight and could not win. Its whole body emitted a golden light, then it became 100 meters long and surrounded Xiao Er and the others, reducing the pressure on them. However, it was strenuous for the light golden dragon to protect so many people at once, because its dragon body was constantly sinking in as if it had been punched countless times. Obviously, this was also caused by the compression. Lin Ling naturally sensed the compression force, but his physical body was strong, so it didn't affect him much at the moment. In fact, the pressure he was enduring was not as great as the light golden dragon. Lei Gong, it's not good, right? Everything within 1,000 miles is a compressed world. This is also an absolute world, and the compressed spiritual qi and air are suppressed by 100,000 miles of spiritual qi. Looking at Jiang Nan, he took a step and appeared in front of Lin Ling in the blink of an eye. It seemed that in his absolute world, his speed had also increased. Rumble. He slammed his palm toward Lin Ling, and a terrifying thing happened immediately. When he waved his hand, the surroundings kept exploding as if countless bombs had been ignited. In fact, when he moved his finger, the power brought about by the movement of his finger had reached a terrifying limit. He acted very quickly, and by the time Lin Ling sensed something, he had already discovered a ferocious palm slapping towards him. It was mixed with the power of 8,000 strands of God, and there was also the might of compressed spiritual energy. Boom! Seeing that there was no way to avoid it, Lin Ling also punched out. Boom! Boom! Chapter 43-85. Boom! Just as he retreated 100 meters, the place where he was standing exploded. From this, it could be seen how much Jiang Nan's attack had improved. Lei Gong, your time of death has come. Jiang Nan sneered and chased after Lin Ling. Under the compression of spiritual energy, he quickly rushed to the front of Lin Ling and punched. Boom! In midair, the air exploded, creating a series of explosions. Moreover, the explosions were caused by the compression of spiritual energy, causing the area within 1,000 miles to become a forbidden zone. Puff! Even the light golden dragon spat out a mouthful of golden blood. If it wasn't for his protection, Xiao Air and Luotian would have been destroyed. If you want to kill me, let the monarch of your immortal spirit kingdom come. He might have a chance. You are obviously not qualified. Lin Ling knew that he couldn't meet force with force, so he increased his speed and quickly retreated. 250,000 world speed. When Lin Ling suddenly disappeared in front of him, Jiang Nan's eyes narrowed. Although his absolute world was very powerful, in terms of speed, it didn't increase much. His speed was 200,000 world speed, but Lin Ling's speed was 250,000 world speed. He is obviously an early-stage lower deity, but why is his speed so much faster than mine? Jiang Nan cursed and looked at Lin Ling in the distance. He said contemptuously, Lei Gong, do you only know how to run? Then, just as he looked at Lin Ling was already smiling at him. All of a sudden, a strange feeling descended and was sealed within 1,000-mile radius. You are not the only one who knows how to seal. When Jiang Nan heard Lin Ling's mocking laughter, he realized that he had lost contact with his innate divine fetus. Boom! 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 After losing contact with his innate divine fetus, he first had to bear the pressure of the compressed spiritual energy, causing his body to deform. It was as if he had encountered the light golden dragon. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and attacked him with a palm. The one who attacked was Lin Ling. Boom! Jiang Nan couldn't react in time and was struck in the chest by the palm. He spat out blood and flew backwards. At the same time, a black military order cracked on his neck. Obviously, that crack had saved his life. Otherwise, based on his previous situation, he definitely wouldn't have been able to block Lin Ling's palm in a moment of panic. A life-saving trump card? Not bad. The Immortal Spirit Hegemony Nation actually rewarded you with a 10th-tier innate divine weapon. Lin Ling nodded. He took a step forward and attacked Jiang Nan again. I want to see how many moves your life-saving trump card can block. How is this possible? What method did you use to seal my innate divine embryo? Jiang Nan's complexion was incomparably ugly. Suddenly, a conjecture arose in his mind. Could it be the steps of the gods? This new generation of Lei Gong has the god stairs? Boom! While he was still in disbelief, Lin Ling's attack arrived once again. After several booms, more cracks appeared on the black command medallion. Whoosh! At this moment, the blood sea sword arrived. Billowing killing intent gushed out. Under the sword, the black token completely exploded. Oh no! Jiang Nan's complexion changed drastically. Only now did he realize that Lei Gong still had some tricks up his sleeve. Moreover, the power contained in the sword didn't seem to be the power of a god. It seemed to be the steps of the gods. Rumble. While he was still in shock, his eyes were also blood red. The billowing blood sea spread out and roared continuously. Jiang Nan could even vaguely see the rolling skulls and human heads in the blood sea. No! He let out a cry. Unfortunately, it was the last sound of his life. Then, he was drowned by the blood sea. This unforeseen event happened so quickly that he didn't even have time to think or imagine that one day, he would die in the hands of a person he had just met. Plop! In the end, a headless corpse fell from the sky and landed not far away from the light golden dragon and the others. Their eyes were fixed on the corpse. Another mid-stage lower deity has died in the hands of Lin Ling. How can Lin Ling be so strong? Looking at his calm appearance, I'm afraid he hasn't used his full strength. Under the protection of the light golden dragon, Luo Shen and the three spirits spoke in trembling voices. As for the light golden dragon, he looked deeply at Lin Ling. Although he already knew that Lin Ling was very strong, he didn't expect that it would be so easy for him to kill the 7 divine generals. Therefore, he guessed that Lin Ling hadn't used his full strength. Unfortunately, what they didn't know was that Lin Ling had already used his full strength. The steps of wisdom, the steps of killing, and the third stage of talent fusion had all erupted. After all, the opponent wasn't an ordinary mid-stage lower deity. Therefore, it wasn't easy for Lin Ling to kill him. The killing intent of the scabbard has been stimulated. I have to kill more people. Lin Ling looked at the tyrannical song sword in his hand and frowned slightly. Moreover, his strength had greatly increased. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to suppress it for so long on the island of Spirit Nation. Once he used the scabbard, he had to kill. Almost at the same time, the steel torrent in the distance was still moving majestically. However, a majestic voice sounded at the same time and spread to the entire steel torrent. Jiang Nan has been defeated. The voice sounded with a hint of anger, causing the eyes of all the divine armors and divine soldiers to flicker. Jiang Nan was one of the 7 divine generals of the immortal Spirit Nation. His strength was monstrous and he had a supreme status. However, even he had fallen. It should be known that in the void of the Kaiyuan River, on the other side of the Kaiyuan River, there were very few people who could shake Jiang Nan's strength. It seems that we have misjudged. There was definitely an expert among the group of people just now. Someone said hoarsely. No matter who it is, they must die. Pass down my order. Split half of the army and kill those people. The majestic voice sounded again. After leaving behind the supreme military order, the steel torrent continued to move forward. Looking at the rolling momentum, it was as if they would kill any god or Buddha that stood in their way. Yes. The steel torrent that was left behind was also incomparably large in number. There were also a few of the 7 divine generals. They rode on divine beasts and turned into streaks of light that flew into the distance like shooting stars. Looking at the streaks of light, it was incomparably dazzling. At this moment, Lin Ling was already floating in midair. However, because he had used the steps of wisdom, the third stage of the fusion talent was quietly retreating. At this moment, he was looking at the distant horizon. There, the setting sun was red like blood. A steel army was majestically approaching. What is the origin of the immortal Spirit Nation? Until now, Lin Ling still didn't know who the other party was and why there were so many experts. Oh no, let's go. Looking at the light golden dragon and the others, they looked as if they had eaten a fly. This was because they had encountered an unexpected disaster again. When that wave of experts arrived, they would definitely not let them go. Chapter 43-86. Motherfucker, there are wolves in front and tigers in the back. This is all because of Lin Ling. Sigh. Sensing this, Xiao became even more depressed. He stared fiercely at Lin Ling. Because whether it was the black goblins or the immortal spirit hegemony, they were all provoked by Lin Ling. And they were also taking the blame for Lin Ling. However, under his gaze, Lin Ling had already slashed out with his blood sword, taking the lives of a large number of steel-armored cavalry. We can't be saved. We will definitely become the must-kill of the immortal spirit hegemony. Sigh. Seeing this, Luo Shen and the others gloomily said. After speaking, they fled into the distance. Audacious bandit, you actually dare to kill the people of the immortal spirit hegemony. Sigh. In the distant sky, under the blood sun, a tall and sturdy old man with a white beard said coldly. This old man's beard was very thick and snow-white, but his strength was not weak. He was comparable to Jiang Nan. Most importantly, there were two people eyeing him covetously. Including the old man, there were three people. With Lin Ling's current state, he naturally could not fight against three mid-stage lower god experts. Therefore, Lin Ling did not speak. He slashed out with his sword, forming an endless sea of blood in the sky. Everywhere it passed, it plundered the lives of many divine soldiers. However, this time, the number of divine soldiers who came to kill Lin Ling was not small. There were almost 500,000 experts. After all, this was half of the steel-armored cavalry. Don't fight recklessly. Sigh. Lin Ling needed time to recover. If he did not use the third stage of innate fusion, he would not be able to fight against the three experts. Therefore, after slashing out a few more times, he immediately turned around and fled. Open the eagle hounds. In the distance, a cold shout came from the steel-armored cavalry. Then, in the dense crowd, a majestic eagle hound suddenly appeared on their shoulders and feet. The eagle hound was as tall as a human, wearing a divine armor. Its fangs were shining. It was very awe-inspiring. Looking at the eagle hound on its shoulder, it was also a divine power. This was a split divine might, a pair of eagle eyes seemingly able to see through the long river of time. These falcons and hounds were all descendants from the era of deities, nurtured into soldiers of the immortal spirit empire. They were extremely formidable in the domain of tracking prey. Even if one escaped into the void, they would still be able to find them. Afterwards, they would attack in groups, biting their prey to death. It was extremely crazy. An eagle's cry rang out, shocking the sky and clouds. Countless divine eagles flew forward like locusts. Then, the cries of dogs shook the heavens and earth. Behind the divine eagles and dogs, the densely packed divine soldiers marched forward in an orderly manner. They lined up in a row and charged toward Lin Ling. Amidst the army of divine soldiers, the mighty divine cannons were pushed forward, rumbling loudly. This time, the army of magic soldiers was stronger than the one Lin Ling had encountered on the island of Spirit Nation. This was because all of them were at the deity realm, and there were only 1,000,000 martial gods in Spirit Nation. He's dead, he's dead. Looking at Xiao and the rest, they were all on the verge of tears. They knew that they had been targeted by the death warrant, and they would not rest until they were dead. Stop talking nonsense and run quickly. While Lin Ling is attracting the attention of the army, run as far as you can. This Lin Ling is indeed a troublemaker. Do you think that the army will give up on killing us in order to kill Lin Ling? 3 spirits, what do you think? The light golden dragon and the rest fled in the same direction as Lin Ling, hoping that the army would not chase after them. Of course, this was just an extravagant hope. As they were escaping, a large group of divine soldiers led by a divine general separated from the steel torrent and charged toward them. Soapako. Lin Ling was expressionless. He ruthlessly slashed his sword behind him. Borrowing the spread of the sea of blood, he also rushed forward quickly. Swoosh! The sword that was filled with killing intent continuously slashed the eagle hounds, causing them to lose their lives. However, there were still more eagle hounds coming from behind. Lin Ling did not care too much and rushed forward with all his might. However, he could only use the second stage innate fusion, so his speed could not even reach 200,000 worlds. Compared to the third stage innate fusion of 250,000 worlds, it was a far cry. An early stage lower god with a speed of 200,000 worlds. This speed is not bad. Moreover, his sword is very sharp, and his killing intent is monstrous. Who is this person? Why is he so strong? At the back of the army, two divine generals were slowly walking forward. They were not in a hurry to chase because they knew that if they were targeted by their steel torrent, that person would not be able to escape. Swoosh! At this time, a freezing force blocked in front of Lin Ling. Looking around, the time in front of him had been frozen, and the ones who had activated this force were the eagle hounds. Break for me! Break! Lin Ling knew that once he was frozen, he would be in trouble. Therefore, he slashed his sword with all his might. However, something strange happened. When the sea of blood landed on the ice actually caused a rebound. Then, the sea of blood flooded over, but Lin Ling dodged it. Interesting. Lin Ling's eyes flashed. Obviously, he had seen something. He punched out. Gotcha. The ice in front of him shattered, and Lin Ling rushed out at the same time. Behind him, the army was stunned. They did not expect Lin Ling to be able to escape. One should know that the frozen immortal gate was specially used to trap and kill enemies. It could reflect a lot of divine energy and divine energy. Obviously, Lin Ling could break it. Relying on the strength of his physical body. Who is this person? In the army, the old man with white eyebrows frowned. The other two divine marshals smiled faintly. One of them, a handsome scholar, said, "The army that chased after the dragon tribe reported that the person we were chasing is called Lei Gong. He is one of the 4 great gods of the 9 continents void." Lei Gong? I remember that he has fallen. This should be the new Lei Gong. However, this guy is really brave. With the identity of Lei Gong, he dares to run around. No matter who he is, the celestial nation orders us to kill him. The 3 divine marshals said faintly. The old man with white eyebrows also said sternly, "Kill him with an army of 300,000. The remaining 200,000 will kill the group of people from the dragon tribe." Obviously, he was giving the order. When the other 2 divine marshals heard this, they sneered. In their opinion, the new Lei Gong was dead meat. Swoosh! At this moment, Lin Ling was crazily rushing forward. Now that he could not use his strongest move for the time being, he needed some time. However, since he dared to come out alone, he naturally had other trump cards. They were the Cast Bean Soldiers and the Thunder Mud Ball. Lin Ling had used up a lot of Cast Bean Soldiers in the battle in Lei Gong's main hall. Now, he still had a lot of Cast Bean Soldiers left. Woof! Woof! At this moment, a large number of divine hounds rushed over from behind. These divine hounds ran in the sky at an extremely fast speed. Above them, divine eagles roared and blocked Lin Ling's path. Chapter 43-87. It seems that I can't return to the valley camp for the time being. Then, Lin Ling suddenly turned around and flew in another direction. Because the road he came from had been blocked, if he forced his way through, he would definitely be entangled by the army behind him. But even so, just as he turned around, a large number of divine hounds pounced on him from behind. They came and bit at Lin Ling crazily. These divine hounds opened their huge mouths in midair and turned into 4 petals, as if flowers had bloomed, and their mouths were full of sharp teeth. Little Kunlun. At the critical moment, Lin Ling waved his left hand and the primeval forest suddenly grew, countless vines tied up the mouths of those divine hounds. Bang! 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 Next, a large number of divine hounds and divine eagles were tied up and fell from the sky. And with this, Lin Ling finally rushed out of the encirclement and rushed towards the mountains in the distance. He really has many tricks up his sleeve. The army behind was still chasing Lin Ling, and the scholar among them said with a faint smile. Although this guy is Lei Gong, he is only an early-stage lower god. His strength is indeed very strong. I'm afraid that there are few among the lower gods who can match him. No matter what, his mysterious vine plant is mine. The white-browed old man and the other divine general also said with a smile. Walala. In the dense forest, a ray of light quickly passed by. It was Lin Ling, startling countless birds in the forest. However, at this time, endless spider webs suddenly shot out from the forest, covering the sky and earth as if it was an inescapable net. What kind of demon is this? It's poisonous. Lin Ling slashed out and cut the spider web in front of him. Then, he felt a force looking down at the Tyrant Song sword, but it was swallowed by killing intent. Just in time to help me block the pursuers. Lin Ling smiled faintly and did not cut the spider web around him. Instead, he opened a gap and shot it out. Woof! 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 As soon as he moved, the divine hounds and divine eagles behind him were entangled by the spider web. Then, they whimpered and were poisoned to death one by one. G. At the same time, the sky of the forest seemed to be raining, sprinkling down a large number of thumb-sized objects. Looking carefully, they were actually small red spiders. What was terrifying was that when these small spiders landed on the bodies of the divine dogs and eagles, they actually swam into their bodies. Then, one by one, the divine dogs on the surface, there seemed to be something crawling inside his body. It was obvious that the spiders had turned him into their nest. Puff! Puff! A large number of divine hounds and divine eagles died, causing the divine hounds to not dare to rush forward. They lowered their tails and whined. Damn it, what a cunning fellow! After the army arrived, angry voices suddenly floated out, because these divine hounds and divine eagles were their comrades, but now they were all dead, and this was only the result of chasing after one person. Kill! The 300,000 soldiers no longer sent out divine hounds and divine eagles. Instead, they took the initiative to chase after them. All directions percussion formation. Behind them, the white-browed elder waved a flag of command, which caused the army of 300,000 to speed up. They used their numbers to fill the gap and charged through the spider forest, charging into the distance. Push the boat with the current formation. Soon after, the white-browed elder waved a blue flag of command, and within the army of 300,000, rolling waves suddenly appeared under their feet. They brought the army forward in a grandiose manner, and their speed increased by another level. Gradually, Lin Ling's figure also quietly appeared. Let's see how you escape. The army was even more murderous. In front of them, Lin Ling's mouth curled into a sneer. You actually know how to use the spirit formation. Unfortunately, it's useless against me. If you catch up, you'll die even faster. Lin Ling slashed out with his sword, and the sea of blood rolled. The approaching army on the left was immediately submerged, and tens of thousands of people were killed with a single slash. This way. Lin Ling's spirit formation Dao had reached perfection. After killing the steel torrent that was rushing towards him, he moved his feet and charged towards the other direction. With a single slash, tens of thousands of people were killed. This is not good. This person knows the spirit formation Tao. When our army was about to be submerged, he forcefully broke through the encirclement. His trembling has caused our army to suffer close to 100,000 casualties. Someone immediately reported to the divine commanders that he had killed so many divine soldiers in 2 moves. The 3 divine commanders no longer had the time to smile, and their expressions became somewhat serious. Activate the zither formation. Focus on stability. The white-browed elder shouted, and the 3 of them rode on a divine chariot, slowly following behind him. As expected of a god. After 3 slashes, the killing intent has already accumulated enough. Next, I'll just have to wait for my soul power to recover. In front of them, Lin Ling saw the steel torrent slowing down. He smiled faintly, put away the tyrannical song sword, slowed down, and walked forward slowly. Of course, he was smiling because although his sword seemed powerful before, in reality, he could only swing it a few times. Now, if the army rushed over quickly, Lin Ling could only rely on his own strength to resist. Therefore, the army focused on stability and slowly surrounded him. This was exactly what Lin Ling wanted, because he needed time to recover. This chase lasted for a full hour. Suddenly, an army with surging killing intent appeared in front of them, and the ones being chased in front of the army were the light golden dragon and the others. What's going on? That's Lin Ling. Oh my god, we went the wrong way. After walking for a while, we actually walked to Lin Ling's side. Damn, do we have to be so unlucky? Luoshan and the others looked around, and they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Ever since they met Lin Ling, they had never been so lucky. It's you guys. What a coincidence. At the same time, Lin Ling saw the light golden dragon and the others rushing in front of him, and he immediately smiled faintly. Coincidence my ass. The light golden dragon and the others scolded at the same time. Without a doubt, they could only run away together in another direction. As for the ferocious army behind them, there were more than 400,000 of them. Go to hell. Suddenly, Lin Ling slowed down and waved his right hand, and a large amount of golden flames shot out like meteors. Boom! However, the army formed into a human formation and formed a powerful screen of light that easily blocked Lin Ling's attack. It seems that it will be difficult to kill them. After his attack failed, Lin Ling immediately rushed forward. However, the army had already surrounded him, and they were filled with killing intent. They wanted to kill Lin Ling in the army. Boom! Lin Ling sneered and threw out a ball of lightning mud. This ball of mud instantly exploded and killed a large number of experts. One had to know that these lightning bolts were terrifying. Even treasure god Nan Wufengyu had to avoid them, let alone an army of early-stage lower gods. Moreover, because the army was too close to Lin Ling, many of them were killed. Chapter 4388. I was almost scared to death. That guy is still in the mood to kill the army. The giant shadow said, gritting his teeth. He was so jealous that he wanted to die. Who asked him to be Lei Gong? Be content. If he didn't kill Ma Qiangfang's army, we would have been overtaken by now. The radiant golden dragon said gloomily. Content my ass. However, Hero Luo and the others cursed angrily. Although Lin Ling had indirectly helped them, it was Lin Ling who had brought this disaster upon them. Another 50,000 soldiers died. A soldier on the divine chariot behind them reported. The 3 divine marshals were stunned, and the veins on their foreheads bulged even more. 80% of the divine eagles and divine hounds are dead. I thought 100,000 soldiers would be the limit, but that guy killed another 50,000. Damn it! Pass down my order. Inject the divine blood. We must kill Lei Gong in the ear-holding ox cave. If more soldiers die, we won't be able to report back. So, this is the last time. The three divine marshals discussed for a while and came to a unanimous decision. They didn't believe that a mere early-stage low god could be so strong. They estimated that Lei Gong was about to reach his limit. This was because they also saw that the previous explosion wasn't the power of the blood sword, but the power of thunder. This meant that the thunder god couldn't use the blood sword, so he could only use his life-saving trump card, and that life-saving trump card was definitely running out. The army that received the order divided into 100,000 soldiers. Two mysterious needles appeared in each of their hands, and then they stabbed them into their temples. Boom! A violent aura suddenly erupted. The eyes of the 100,000 soldiers turned red. Their strength soared, and they all reached the peak of early-stage low god. The combined aura of the 100,000 soldiers dyed the sky red. Rumbling sounds could be heard continuously. This immortal spirit empire is really scary. I don't know what method they used, but their strength has increased greatly. We are finished. Sensing the terrifying aura behind them, Luotian and the others turned pale. The immortal spirit empire, even the Dragon Valley doesn't dare to provoke them. How can they be weak? The radiant golden dragon said solemnly. He knew that a bloody battle was coming. Where's Lin Ling? He seems to have been stopped by the army. The giant figure frowned and looked behind him. Boom, boom, boom. However, at this moment, three roars resounded. Incomparably terrifying lightning energy erupted. It carried an unprecedented domineering aura as it blasted apart the heavens. The sun and the sky was now submerged as endless lightning enveloped the entire heavens. Looking at the center of the explosion, the 100,000 soldiers from before bloomed from the center. Countless pieces of flesh and broken godly armor bloomed like flowers. Crackle. Streaks of lightning also wreaked havoc in all directions. A moment later, countless wreckage floated in the sky, and among them, a figure shot out. It was Lin Ling. Such a terrifying explosion also caused Luotian and the others to stop in their tracks. Their jaws were wide open and they were unable to say a word for a long time. Awesome, awesome, awesome. After a while, someone finally muttered to himself. That's the power of the steps of God. The radiant golden dragon suddenly said solemnly. Then, he roared, let's go. Luotian and the others also reacted and quickly ran away. This was because they had a feeling that the immortal spirit hegemony nation would explode with anger after losing so many soldiers. They would definitely send out experts because the human wave tactic was useless against Lin Ling. Sure enough, behind them, the remaining 200,000 soldiers fell silent. Their faces were ashen. As for the three divine commanders on the divine chariot, they gritted their teeth and remained silent. After a long time, the white-browed elder finally spoke, it's time for us to act. If we don't kill Lei Gong, we won't be able to report back to our superiors. We underestimated him. He actually killed 200,000 soldiers. It seems that the four great gods of the 9 continents void are indeed not simple. The scholarly divine commander sneered. Then, he stuck out his tongue and licked it slightly. His tongue was like a snake's, very demonic. The new Lei Gong, let us meet you. The last person opened his hands like the claws of a phoenix and tore the void in front of him. After tearing the void apart, the divine chariot rushed in. In the blink of an eye, the void in front of the 200,000 soldiers trembled. A majestic dragon-tiger divine chariot rushed out. The moment it rushed out, cracks appeared in the void. Then, 3 experts with smiling faces appeared in front of Lin Ling. Divine commanders, divine commanders, divine commanders. Seeing this, the 200,000 soldiers behind them cheered loudly. Their voices were deafening. This was because everyone knew that the three great divine commanders had finally appeared. And they were one of the 7 great divine commanders of the immortal spirit hegemony nation. Their strength was monstrous. Almost at the same time, the radiant golden dragon and the others, who were running away, narrowed their eyes. They all sensed that those 3 were mid-stage lower gods. Lin Ling, it's over. The giant figure suddenly laughed. He was incomparably excited and expectant. The 3 great divine commanders, TSK. How can Lei Gong stop them alone? Luotian clenched her fists in excitement. Lei Gong, I've heard a lot about you. At this moment, the scholarly divine commander on the divine chariot smiled and said, to show my respect, let me introduce myself first. My name is White Grace Grass. I'm from the immortal spirit hegemony nation. However, before he could finish, Lin Ling had already thrown out 3 black mud balls. Then, a burst of destructive lightning energy erupted. In front of the steel army and the radiant golden dragon, the divine chariot was blown up. The 3 great divine commanders couldn't react in time and were smashed to pieces. They vomited blood continuously. If the 3 of them hadn't joined forces to stop the lightning attack at the critical moment, they would have died here. Crash! The terrifying lightning storm bloomed in front of everyone's eyes. The ferocious wind blew the steel army back continuously. After an unknown period of time, when the lightning storm gradually weakened, 3 extremely miserable figures appeared before everyone's eyes. They were the 3 great divine commanders. However, the 3 great divine commanders didn't look like divine commanders. They were covered in dust and were vomiting blood continuously. They were grimacing in pain from the destruction of the lightning. By the way, you said earlier that you're from a country? While everyone was still in disbelief, Lin Ling's frowning voice drifted over. What the hell, this guy? Luotian and the others were completely speechless as they stared at the scene in the distance. Chapter 4389. Lei Gong. Soon, 3 people shouted at the same time. They were the furious old man with white eyebrows and the other 3 generals. What kind of country are you? How rude. However, I have no time to play with you. Lin Ling said calmly. Then, he threw out a large number of beans with his right hand. Then, he turned around and left. This was Bean Soldiers' formation. You want to leave? Seeing this, the 3 divine commanders shouted again. However, countless clouds exploded in front of their eyes. Then, mysterious people with strange appearances and different clothes appeared one after another. I am Yi Liangchen. An old man with a divine sword on his back looked at the 3 divine commanders with a smile. The 3 divine commanders were stunned. Who are these people? Why did they suddenly appear? And there are so many of them. When they looked at Lin Ling again, they saw that he had already flown away. Where do you think you are going? The old man with white eyebrows and the others would not let Lin Ling escape. However, when they were about to attack, a sword slashed at them. It was the smiling old man. Although I do not like to cause trouble, I will not be afraid if others cause trouble to me. After slashing with his sword, the old man said seriously. Damn it! When did we offend you? The 3 divine commanders were even more furious. Who was the one who offended whom now? Kill them. Kill. They did not care about the damage caused by Lin Ling's lightning. They attacked one after another and attacked indiscriminately. Apparently, the group of people who suddenly appeared could not withstand the joint attack of the 3 divine commanders. They were continuously killed and turned into clouds of clouds. I am Yi Liangchen. If you think you are capable, you can play with me. I am not afraid of trouble. Let me tell you, my grandfather was involved in the research of atomic bombs. The 3 generations of my family are not to be trifled with. Kill. What infuriated the 3 gods was that this group of strange people had been blasted beyond recognition, yet they still dared to spout such arrogant words, saying something about participating in the atomic bomb research, and that they would research their entire families. Boom. Boom. In the end, the group of strange people who suddenly appeared were all killed. However, Lin Ling had disappeared. Chase him. If he is alive, I want to see his corpse. The 3 divine marshals were already on the verge of erupting like volcanoes. They pointed forward and roared. With this order, the steel army behind them once again flooded forward. You killed 200,000 of our soldiers, toyed with us, and now you want to escape? The white-browed old man shouted coldly, and a huge silver piece of metal appeared in his hand. The piece of metal was 1 meter long and half a meter wide, and there were mysterious runes on its surface. Rings of glazed light curled around the piece of metal. Creation. Following his voice, a faintly discernible figure appeared on the metal block. Upon closer inspection, it was Lin Ling's figure. Found it, let's go in. The white-browed elder threw the silver piece of metal into the sky. Then, as if the piece of metal had fallen into water, ripples appeared in the sky. Seeing this, the other 2 divine commanders' eyes flickered. They didn't expect the white-browed old man to use the divine metal of creation in order to hunt down Lei Gong. After all, this was the white-browed old man's innate talent, which could create the creation of heaven and earth. It was extremely powerful. Pearl Divine Chariot. Seeing that the white-browed old man didn't hide his strength, the scholar smiled faintly. A flag appeared in his hand, and he waved it in the air. The divine chariots they were sitting on immediately began to move and charged into the ripples caused by the divine metal of creation. Whoosh! In the next moment, the divine chariot disappeared. Space diversion. Seeing this scene, the steel flood in the distance also cheered. A general checked the compass in his hand and then ran into the distance. Kill them. At the same time, they left behind 50,000 soldiers to kill the golden dragon of light and the others. This is our chance. However, the golden dragon of light sneered. This was because he had been hiding his strength all along. Now that he saw an army of 50,000 early lower gods, he was naturally confident that he could wipe them out. Lin Ling is really crazy. Now that the immortal spirit nation has no hegemony, we have to kill Lin Ling as soon as possible. An army of 50,000 is very strong. However, the golden dragon of light seems to be confident. We still have a chance to win. Luotian and the others laughed. They had the 3 spirits, Qing Mo, and Luotian. The 3 of them were one of the 8 new deities of the current generation. Naturally, their strength was extraordinary. They were confident that they could fight against an army of 50,000. On the other side, Lin Ling continued to fly past. However, his sharp soul power sensed that something was wrong. They are really persistent. Then, Lin Ling's eyes turned cold. He originally wanted to return to the valley where he was stationed, but he stopped at this moment. Lei Gong, go to hell. At this moment, an angry roar sounded. Then, ripples appeared in the sky in front of him. A divine chariot rushed out and charged toward Lin Ling at the speed of 100 worlds. Boom! As soon as the divine chariot appeared, a dragon and a tiger appeared beside it. They spat out the ice-fire cannons ferociously. Swoosh! Lin Ling moved sideways and quickly dodged the ice-fire cannons. However, as soon as he dodged, the divine chariot crashed into him. On the divine chariot, the 3 divine marshals looked ferocious. Run! Let me see how you can escape. The scholar's voice sounded at the same time. Why do you have to run? Seeing that there was no way to avoid it, Lin Ling's eyes flashed. He activated the third part of the innate talent fusion. The gray robe was so cold and silent. This sudden change made the three divine marshals frown. They didn't know why, but they felt that the young Lei Gong had changed. He seemed to have become stronger. However, Lei Gong had been hunted for so long. How could he become stronger? A futile struggle. The white-browed elder sneered. Obviously, he didn't believe that Lin Ling still had strength. Boom! Almost at the same time, the divine chariot crashed into Lin Ling. Lin Ling punched out. His fist collided with the divine chariot, causing ripples in the void. The sound of the collision was deafening. However, the collision that even a mid-stage low god wouldn't dare to face was blocked by Lin Ling's punch. How is this possible? Three voices came out from the mouths of the three divine marshals, filled with disbelief. Get lost. After Lin Ling blocked the divine chariot with his fist, he pressed his other hand on the divine chariot. Holding it with both hands, he threw the divine chariot out like a windmill. This guy. On the divine chariot, the three divine marshals felt dizzy. However, they were all mid-stage lower gods. With a slight movement of their bodies, they all jumped off the divine chariot. The white-browed old man waved his hands, and a silver iron plate flew over. Soon after, a ray of light shot out from the iron plate. It covered the world. Seize your fortune. The white-browed elder roared, causing Lin Ling to feel that something strange was happening. Just as the white-browed elder's attack landed, the scholar in the distance chanted something. The divine chariot that had gone out of control turned around and shot towards Lin Ling again. As for the other divine marshal, he opened his arms and his eyes suddenly turned red. When he looked at the sky, a large number of meteorites suddenly appeared in the sky. They crashed down. Chapter 4390. Join forces. Lin Ling narrowed his eyes. He didn't have time to think and punched at the divine chariot. Puff! 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 The divine chariot was even more ferocious than before. Its divine energy was unstoppable, pushing Lin Ling back. Lin Ling also noticed that there was a familiar energy in front of the divine chariot. It was the flame of the human monarch. Lin Ling was shocked. He subconsciously looked at the white-browed old man and immediately knew that this was the power of the other party's divine embryo. The white-browed old man's talent seemed to be able to seize another person's talent and use it on another person. The power of this divine embryo was similar to the step of wisdom. It was extremely heaven-defying. Rumble. With the addition of the human monarch's flame, the divine chariot's golden flames rose and constantly forced Lin Ling back. Looking at the countless meteors in the sky, they all turned into gorgeous trajectories and bombarded Lin Ling. So powerful. Lin Ling thought. If he wanted to defeat any one of these three experts, it would be difficult for him to do so. Now that the three of them had joined forces, how could Lin Ling resist their battle prowess? Rumble. While Lin Ling was thinking, the meteors had completely engulfed Lin Ling and exploded one after another. The destructive power of those meteors was so terrifying that it seemed as though they could kill any early-stage low god. But soon, a figure rushed out from the explosion. Looking carefully, this person was also riddled with wounds and blood was dripping. But as soon as he stabilized himself, those wounds quickly healed. And he was Lin Ling. The third stage of the innate fusion had gathered all 7 of Lin Ling's divine embryos. Naturally, his defensive power was beyond imagination. After rushing out, Lin Ling didn't stop. He immediately burst out with a speed of 250,000 worlds and rushed into the distance. Where do you think you're going? Seeing that Lin Ling was about to escape, the scholar coldly shouted. He controlled the divine chariot and launched countless divine cannons at Lin Ling. Bang bang bang. Upon closer inspection, one could see that the divine cannons were shooting out beams of divine wood. When they appeared around Lin Ling, they immediately sealed off the space where Lin Ling could escape. Looking from afar, the scene was extremely spectacular. It was as if a huge wooden ball had appeared, and Lin Ling was inside the wooden ball. Break! Lin Ling watched as a large number of divine trees flooded towards him. He waved his fists and unleashed the power of 1.5 million worlds. He punched the divine trees apart and rushed out of the encirclement. Seal! Then, Lin Ling let out a low growl and threw the stare of wisdom like a taboo. Moreover, it landed on the silver iron plate. After doing this, Lin Ling also rushed forward and disappeared from the sight of the three people. How can this guy still have such strength? The speed at which Lin Ling rushed out of the encirclement was so fast that they couldn't react at all. Therefore, the three people could only watch as Lin Ling left and felt that it was unbelievable. This was because Lin Ling had already killed 200,000 soldiers and was suppressed by the three of them. He should have reached his limit. However, who knew that he would suddenly burst out with strength again? Moreover, his strength was so strong that he could resist the three of them head-on without being defeated. This is so infuriating. Why is that guy so difficult to deal with? Damn, Lei Gong is indeed Lei Gong. I'm convinced. However, I don't believe that I can't kill him. If we don't kill him, how can we report back? More than 200,000 soldiers have died, and there are still more waiting for our good news. The three divine commanders cursed and then looked at the white-browed old man. The white-browed old man snorted coldly, "He can't escape." After saying this, he looked at the silver iron plate. Then, his pupils constricted and he shouted, "Oh no, my fortune divine tablet has been sealed. What kind of joke is this? At this time, you're saying that the fortune divine tablet has been sealed. How are we going to chase after him?" Hearing his words, the other two divine commanders widened their eyes. The scholar suddenly reacted and said angrily, "It's him. When he rushed out, I saw him attacking the fortune divine tablet. At that time, I thought that he was making a last-ditch effort. I didn't expect him to have a way to make the fortune divine tablet lose its effect. Then what do we do now? What else can we do? We can only wait." The three divine commanders were so angry that they wanted to curse. They knew that if they let Lei Gong escape further and further, it would be difficult for them to catch him. Inform the army to search for him. However, Lin Ling had already committed a heinous crime. Therefore, no matter how difficult it was, they had to catch Lin Ling. Therefore, the white-browed old man issued a death order. The three of them obviously hadn't expected that they would spend so much time and lose so many people just to chase down a junior. At this time, on the other side, Lin Ling was moving rapidly underground. He sensed that the ground was now filled with a torrent of steel troops. What a troublesome thing. If it wasn't for the three of them, I would have killed him long ago. Lin Ling grunted coldly. If he hadn't noticed the mysteries of the iron token earlier, then he would probably still be unable to escape death. Because the iron token seemed to be able to lock onto his tracks, and it even possessed the might of teleportation. Although he was temporarily safe, Lin Ling knew that the situation wasn't optimistic. GG. However, at this time, a sharp cry came from the dark ground. What's that? The human king's flame appeared in Lin Ling's palm. He wanted to kill it, but soon, a huge head popped out from the darkness. Then, a passage appeared in front of Lin Ling. That huge head was actually the head of a pangolin. "It's you." Lin Ling recognized it instantly. Wasn't this the pangolin that was stationed at the bottom of the valley? Come and help me. Moreover, Lin Ling instantly sensed the pangolin's intention. The pangolin immediately nodded. After turning its head, it kept digging and led Lin Ling forward. "I don't want to go back to the valley for the time being. You can lead me to avoid the pursuers. Lin Ling pondered for a moment and then said. Although there were countless experts in the Lei Gong Hall and Grandpa Treasure God and the others, if those three dared to come, they would definitely die. However, Lin Ling didn't know the background of those people. He didn't want to bring trouble to the Lei Gong Hall rashly. GG. The pangolin knew what Lin Ling was thinking and immediately dug a hole in another direction. Its speed was incomparably fast. Moreover, Lin Ling sensed that the hole dug by the pangolin had a mysterious rhythm. It could avoid detection. Unless it was underground, it was really difficult to find it. After moving forward for a full hour, there was a rumbling sound. In a huge cave, the pangolin's head popped out. Then, its four limbs moved slightly and it crawled out. Behind it, Lin Ling also jumped up. Thank you. Lin Ling smiled at the pangolin. His eyes swept around and found that the cave was very big. There were many small caves around and there was a mysterious wind blowing in from each of the caves. What a fishy smell. I'm afraid this cave is not simple. Chapter 4391. Squeak, squeak. At this moment, the giant pangolin made a sound to Lin Ling, as though it was about to leave. Go on. When you return, help me tell them that I'm fine. Lin Ling walked forward and stroked the pangolin's head with a smile. Although he was not afraid of being hunted down by the three divine marshals, Lin Ling would eventually be tired if the chase continued. Therefore, it was not bad that the pangolin could help him find a quiet place to rest. Kunlun. Little Kunlun also swam out. Its vines shook at the giant pangolin as though it was thanking it. Squeak, squeak. The pangolin stuck out its tongue and licked little Kunlun. Then, it swam back into the cave because it still had to go back to feed its young. After the pangolin left, Lin Ling stroked little Kunlun and smiled. I didn't expect my kindness to be rewarded. I let it go because of your suggestion last time. Today, it's repaying your kindness. Alright. It's time to rest. After that, Lin Ling found a quiet corner and sat down cross-legged to recover. However, as soon as he sat down, a soreness spread throughout his body. Then, intense pain came from his wounds. However, Lin Ling did not care about the soreness. Instead, he constantly sensed his entire body. He realized that after the previous battle, his physical strength had increased. Deities are indeed strong. The divine fetuses of those three have reached the 8th grade and above. In addition, they are mid-stage lower deities. It is indeed difficult to fight them. By now, Lin Ling had fought with many lower deities. Therefore, he was somewhat familiar with this realm. Generally speaking, deities were much more difficult to deal with than martial gods. Moreover, if there was a difference of one realm, it would be difficult to fight against someone of a higher realm. At the end of the day, it was because it was too difficult for deities to break through. Therefore, most deities increased their strength by constantly strengthening their divine power or increasing the talent of their divine fetuses. Where did those three come from? Did they come from the void of the 9 states? They are too strong. I'm afraid they are only slightly weaker than little Qilin. Thinking about the previous battle, Lin Ling was curious about the origins of those people. However, he was certain that those people were not from the spirit nation. After a long time, Lin Ling had fully recovered. After checking, he found that he had used up all of his magic arsenal, but he still had one thunder mud ball left. However, he was in his peak condition this time, and he could even use the scabbard and the 3rd stage of his talent fusion. Therefore, he went on his way again. After scanning the surrounding caves, Lin Ling sensed a familiar feeling from one of the caves. Immediately, he followed the cave. Drip. At this moment, in a cave, more than 10 figures were sitting there in a sorry state. All of them were panting heavily, and their bodies were covered with wounds of various sizes. We finally made it out. 50,000 soldiers, we killed 20,000 of them, but we still managed to escape in the end. Be content with what you have. Those are all early-stage low-god realm experts. In terms of cultivation, they are much higher than us. If it wasn't for Senior Radiant Golden Dragon attracting a large number of experts, we would have died long ago. Thank you, Senior Light Golden Dragon. These people looked at the ground and saw a dim golden dragon lying there. At this moment, it was also covered with wounds and its breathing was weak. It's okay. I was only saving myself. The golden dragon also let out a soft voice. Overall, we finally escaped. Damn it, it's all because of that Lin Ling. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been so unlucky. The giant figure let out a sigh of relief, then gritted his teeth and said, "Wait, we might not have escaped this time. Everyone seems to have forgotten about that thing." Suddenly, Luotian said in a serious voice. Her words made everyone come to their senses, and then all of them trembled. This was because, after Luotian's reminder, they now felt a faint feeling of being spied on. That feeling was from the Dark Goblins. That's right, the Dark Goblins had been following them, and there were quite a number of them. Everyone, be careful. The Dark Goblins are looking for an opportunity to kill us. Everyone, stand up. Even if you have to pretend to be strong. San Ling immediately shouted. However, just as he stood up, he immediately sat down on the ground powerlessly. Previously, when he was fighting the Steel Torrent, he had already exhausted all his strength. Now, even if he wanted to pretend to be strong, he couldn't do it. Looking at the others, they were all in the same situation. Because of their weakness, the Dark Goblins, who had been hiding in the dark, were also eyeing them covetously, looking for a fatal blow. Especially the Golden Dragon of Light, he was the most anxious at this moment. This was because even breathing was difficult for him, let alone standing up. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. As if sensing that they couldn't miss this opportunity, the Dark Goblins in the dark of the cave finally became restless and shot towards the group. Bastards! Everyone's expression changed drastically. They wanted to resist, but it was obviously very difficult. I didn't expect that we'll die here. At this moment, everyone's mood was gloomy. The feeling of dying from a sneak attack made them feel very uncomfortable. They died with their eyes wide open. I've caught you. But at that moment, a calm voice suddenly sounded. Then, the entire cave was sealed by a mysterious force. Looking at the radiant golden dragon and the others, they saw that they were surrounded by radish-like shadows, unable to move at all. What's going on? These radish-like heads are the Dark Goblins. Why did they suddenly stop moving? And looking at their appearance, they seemed to be very panicked. Luotian and the others were shocked. They felt as if they had just survived a disaster. At this moment, footsteps finally sounded. Then, a figure slowly walked out from the darkness in front of them. If it wasn't Lin Ling, who else could it be? I've finally caught them. Lin Ling, who walked out, smiled. With a flick of his finger, divine energy shot out and landed on each of the Dark Goblins, instantly killing them. Then, Lin Ling collected all the Dark Goblins. His depressed mood instantly became carefree. Because the Dark Goblins were comparable to the Divine Spring, now that he suddenly obtained so much, his mood naturally wouldn't be bad. Moreover, he didn't expect that he would be interrupted midway, but in the end, the Dark Goblins were still caught by him. It's you. Looking at the calm Lin Ling, everyone felt that it was unbelievable. This was because they never thought that Lin Ling would still be alive, and even appear in front of them so casually. This made them feel that Lin Ling being chased was just a game. You Scourge, why aren't you dead yet? The Golden Dragon of Light also looked at Lin Ling and then spat out a mouthful of blood, looking very depressed. Is this what a dragon should say? Or are all of you Dragon Clan ungrateful people like this? In any case, I saved you from the dark goblins. It's fine if you're not grateful, but you're cursing me to die. Chapter 4392. Because after encountering Lin Ling, they had been unlucky until now. Who did they provoke? Okay, I'm not going crazy with you. Goodbye. After Lin Ling put away the dark essence, he wanted to turn around and leave. However, at this moment, a demonic wind blew in his face. Then, a few demons that looked like humans and monsters appeared in the cave. They were strange because they had human limbs and bodies, but their bodies were covered with colorful hair. Their legs were also in the shape of phoenix claws. Their faces were ugly, and they had a bird's beak. Moreover, their bodies stank. That stench carried the smell of human blood. Sure enough, there's someone here. I sensed a human presence before. After they rushed out, they immediately spat out human words and stared at Luo Shen and the others with excitement in their eyes. What is this? Dragon? Huh, I didn't expect our luck to be so good. If we give this dragon to the king will definitely reward us heavily. That seems to be a human woman. TSK, I heard that women are the most delicious. They kept staring at Luo Shen and the others, causing their faces to turn ugly. If they weren't injured, they would have killed as many as they could. Humans, obediently hand over your lives and we'll give you a quick death. After the demons discussed, they looked at Luo Shen and the others with a smile. They could see that Luo Shen and the others were seriously injured. Who are you? Luo Shen and the others knew that they needed time to recover, so they were stalling for time. 72 Caves, Peacock Cave King's people. Yes. Speaking of their origin, the demons puffed out their chests and said, "We are the demon kings of the 72 caves under the Ox Demon clan. It's your fortune to die in our hands." Yes. Ox Demon clan. Hearing this, Luo Shen and the others' faces changed slightly. They had naturally heard of the Ox Demon clan. It was said that they were the most terrifying existence in Gr Ox Cave. Okay, you've finished your nonsense. I know you want to stall for time. Unfortunately, although we are demons, we are not idiots. Give me your lives. Yes. Those few demon men sneered and continued to speak. Their footsteps had already begun to move forward. Wait, if you want to take us away, at least wait until we recover a little. Right now, even walking is a problem for us. Seeing that the other party had noticed their intentions, Xiaoer hurriedly said. Don't worry, you don't have to leave, because you are all going to become corpses. Except for the dragon lying down, the life and death of the others don't matter. However, one of the fiendish demons laughed and strode forward. Seeing this, the faces of God Luo and the others changed greatly. Then, they looked at Lin Ling and shouted, "Lin Ling, help us? Why should I help you?" Lin Ling looked at them strangely and said calmly. This. No one could refute that because Lin Ling indeed had a reason not to help them. Also, all of you seem to be heavily injured, but all of you have hidden trump cards, right? That's why I'm guessing that these fiendish demons won't kill you so easily. Lin Ling said again. What? They still had a killer move. Lin Ling's words undoubtedly shocked the fiendish demons and made God Luo and the others explode with anger. Because that killer move, which they had originally wanted to use for a sneak attack, had been exposed by Lin Ling. And a killer move that had been exposed was no longer a killer move. Moreover, they were indeed heavily injured and could only rely on that killer move. Wait, we are the people of the four gods. If you dare to kill us, be careful of the gods' revenge. We are from the dragon race. Do you dare to provoke the dragon race? Be careful of the dragon race's anger. God Luo and the others immediately said, wanting to intimidate these little demons with their background. This is Ji-Er-Ox Cave, not your realm of the gods. However, the fiendish demons did not give him any face. They quietly transformed into colorful peacocks. Although they looked beautiful, there was always a bloody stench on their bodies. Therefore, they gave off a very disgusting feeling. Realm of the gods? Looks like these little demons still don't know that the realm of the gods has been destroyed. Lin Ling looked at them indifferently. Then, his gaze landed on the feathers of those peacocks and his eyes instantly lit up. Those feathers seemed to be pretty good treasures. Bang! Just as the fiendish demons were about to attack, suddenly, golden flames appeared on their bodies and burned them continuously. Then, they began to assimilate. And these were the flame of the human king. As Lin Ling was not familiar with Ji-Er-Ox Cave and felt that this place was very dangerous, he wanted to use these little demons to investigate the cave. However, this time, the flame of the human monarch, who would do anything for no gain, had failed. Because those little demons kept moaning, but they were not assimilated. Lin Ling sensed a strong feedback from them, refusing to be assimilated. How strange. According to the assessment of strength, they are only at the peak of the martial god realm and do not have divine energy. But because of their innate advantage, they have a lot of divine energy in their bodies. But this kind of strength is not enough to resist my human king's flame. Unless their bodies are very powerful, could it be? Suddenly, Lin Ling's eyes lit up and guessed the origin of these little demons. They should be transformed from a feather, and the owner of the feather was still alive. Therefore, this caused them to be unable to assimilate. As for the owner, it must be one of the 72 cave masters. Die. Thinking up to here, Lin Ling did not hold back anymore and controlled the human king's flame to obliterate these little demons. The few little demons let out painful cries and were burned clean in the end, leaving behind a few arm-thick feathers. These feathers were very exquisite and emitted the light of treasures. Pretty good treasure. If used to forge, it can forge a powerful divine artifact. And if used to refine, this can also raise my cultivation realm. Lin Ling beckoned with his right hand. Those feathers landed in his hand and he could not help nodding in satisfaction. Now, he obtained the black goblin and the demon feather. The harvest could be said to be not small. Lin Ling, why you actually killed them. Seeing Lin Ling kill the little demons so easily, Luotian and the others were unhappy. Because they all knew that those little demons had the powerful 72 cave masters behind them. If the cave master came, with their current state, they would definitely not be able to resist. I am saving you. It's fine if you don't thank me, but you blame me? Seeing the angry faces of Luotian and the others, Lin Ling immediately sneered, bullshit. You already know that we all have trump cards on us. These little demons can't kill us at all. I think you're going for those feathers. The giant shadow's face was distorted with anger. Chapter 4393. Hearing this, Lin Ling shook his head and said coldly, first, if you continue to talk nonsense, I can kill you all without the cave master coming. Don't forget, you all have a great enmity with me. It's just that I promised Lei Gong that I wouldn't bicker with you. Otherwise, with my temperament, you wouldn't have survived until now. Here. The last sentence floated out with boiling killing intent, scaring Xiao, and the rest. They didn't dare to look at Lin Ling again. Even Luotian, who once dared to fight with the Qilin, was pale and didn't dare to say a word. Indeed, with Lin Ling's current strength and the enmity between them, if Lin Ling killed them, they wouldn't be able to resist. Second, there's no need to lure the cave master because he's already here. At this time, Lin Ling said again. Everyone's face turned serious. After the bright golden dragon recovered, it quietly transformed into a human and looked around with deep eyes. You're the one who killed my son. A colorful light lingered in the cave and quietly turned into a tall and sturdy figure. Looking carefully, it was an old man. He wore a colorful feather cloak and his long hair was green. His facial features were somewhat terrifying. He had the eyes and nose of a lion, but his mouth was like a bird's beak. A terrifying aura emanated from his body, forming a multicolored light that illuminated the entire cave. Under the cover of these lights, except for the bright golden dragon, everyone felt a suffocating pressure. Very strong. Was this the 72 Cave Master? That's right, it's me. Lin Ling looked at him calmly. You have guts. There aren't many young humans who can remain calm in front of me. You're the third. The old man looked at Lin Ling deeply and said. I thought I was the first, but the third doesn't matter. Lin Ling nodded. Not bad, 72 Cave Masters. Their strength is actually at the mid-stage low god realm, and their demon embryos are extremely powerful. Most likely, they have reached the 10th grade. Most importantly, there are 72 experts like you in the entire Ox Cave. The might of the Ox Cave is beyond your imagination. We are merely monster kings. However, I am surprised by your calmness. You seem to be an early-stage low god. I wonder, why are you so confident? The old man nodded and looked at the radiant golden dragon. With this dragon? Even though he's very strong, he's heavily injured now. Moreover, there's a force sealed within his body. So, it's obviously unrealistic to ask him to help you. I don't need that trash's help. Let's fight. I'm also very interested in you, Ling, behind you. Lin Ling placed his right hand behind his back. With a light flick, the Tyrant Song sword appeared in his hand. On the huge sword, a blood-red glow flowed. With this sword, I can be sure that you're quite famous among the humans. Very well, let's fight. I'll let you know the might of the Ox Cave. The old man's body trembled. Suddenly, countless feathers bloomed behind him, like a peacock spreading its tail. Divine scripture. With a low shout, those feathers immediately shot out. They were multicolored and extremely resplendent. These feathers moved with a rhythm, sealing the entire cave. Then, colorful rays of light burst out. My eyes! Luotian and the rest screamed. They realized that their eyes had been stimulated. They couldn't see anything, only colorful rays of light. Hee, you humans dare to enter the 72 caves. You'll all die for me. They couldn't see anything. They could only hear the cold voice drifting into their ears. At this moment, everyone was irritated. It was as though those rays of light not only affected their vision, but also their mood. Lin Ling, it's Lin Ling again. If he didn't kill those little demons, how could the cave master arrive so quickly? Why am I so unlucky every time I meet him? What do you mean by meet? He's the one who comes to us every time. In their irritation, thinking of the unexpected calamity during this period, their mood became even worse. Whoosh! At this moment, among the colorful rays of light, a feather shot forward. It was mixed with the power of 7,000 divinity. Bang! However, in the light, a figure flashed quickly and easily dodged it. I didn't expect you to be unaffected. Seeing that person easily dodge it, the old man let out a cold laugh. Your rays of light aren't actually stimulating the eyes. They're stimulating the soul. As long as your soul isn't strong, it's useless no matter how you close your eyes. In the light, Lin Ling's voice drifted over. Your perception is really impressive. But so what if you know? I, the Peacock Cave Master, am not just powerful. Die. The old man waved his hands and a large number of feathers shot toward Lin Ling. Their speed had reached 200,000 world speed. Most importantly, there were so many of them that it was impossible to guard against them. You can't kill me. At this moment, the gray-robed Lin Ling finally appeared. He released 250,000 world speed and moved continuously. With a strange footwork, he dodged a large number of feathers. Moreover, with a wave of the sword in his hand, the feathers that were close to him were sent flying. How is this possible? Lin Ling's sudden increase in strength undoubtedly shocked Cave Master Peacock greatly. After all, Lin Ling was merely an early-stage low god. No matter how strong he was, there was a limit to his strength. But who could have imagined that this mysterious young man could actually erupt with such strength? You're a demon too. Moreover, Lin Ling was wearing a gray robe and the divine energy on his body was very strange. He couldn't figure it out. However, he was one of the 72 cave masters and the king of demons left behind from the era of gods. His strength was also heaven-defying. As the feathers he controlled danced in the air, the power of divinity increased crazily and reached 10,000 units. 10,000 units of the power of divinity. This was a terrifying amount of strength. At present, in the void of the 9 prefectures, other than some unknown characters, Lin Ling knew of gods, other than the 4 great gods, no one else had 10,000 units of the power of divinity. PFFF. PFFF. Under the constant impact of those feathers, Lin Ling's efforts were strenuous and unrewarding. His body was almost out of control from the impact. Let me tell you, my feathers are getting stronger the more I fight. The power of divinity will continue to increase. The Peacock Cave Master sneered. This was his heaven-defying innate demon body. Your feathers are indeed powerful. But as long as you find the right way, the weakness is actually quite big. At this moment, an ethereal voice floated out from Lin Ling's mouth. Then, he activated the step of wisdom and locked onto one of the feathers, sealing it. And after that feather was sealed, all the other feathers seemed to lose control and fall from the sky. That previously insufferably arrogant power of divinity had now dimmed. Chapter 43-94. It was because his feathers were indeed powerful, able to continuously increase his divine power. However, its weakness was also fatal. One of the feathers was the most crucial. If it suffered a heavy blow, the other feathers would lose their source of power. However, normal people couldn't discover this secret at all. That was why he relied on this move to make his own. He dominated the 72 caves. Don't ask me how I know. You only need to know that if this secret of yours is leaked, at least this killer move of yours will have no effect. Lin Ling's gray robe fluttered in the wind. After sealing the feather, he swung his blood-red greatsword fiercely. Rumble. Terrifying murderous aura turned into a sea of blood, destroying everything. Boom. Then, with a loud boom, the colorful light exploded. The dazzling feeling from before disappeared without a trace. The golden dragon and the others also recovered. However, when they looked at the old man in the colorful feather cape, he spat out a mouthful of blood and stared fiercely at Lin Ling. In front of the old man, the rolling sea of blood spread and completely drowned the old man. In the end, he could not be more dead. Lin Ling killed the 72 cave masters. Seeing this, everyone was in disbelief. Although they did not know what the 72 cave masters were, they could guess how powerful these overlords were. It was obviously impossible for an outsider to kill these overlords. However, Lin Ling succeeded. He killed an early-stage low god. As expected of Lei Gong. Sanling and Qing Imo secretly admired him. He didn't die. He only lost a feather. However, in everyone's eyes, Lin Ling's face was still calm. Then, he picked up the feather on the ground and revealed a satisfied smile. You are so powerful. I wonder who you are. Almost at the same time, the old man's deep voice came from the cave. The Peacock Cave Master was indeed not dead. They called me Lei Gong. Lin Ling raised his head and said indifferently. Lei Gong. I will remember this. The old man's voice drifted further and further until it finally disappeared. What's going on? I clearly saw him die. Luotian and the others exclaimed when they could no longer sense the old man's aura. The previous one should have been a feather of the Peacock Cave Lord, and that feather was cut off by Lin Ling. That's all there is to it. The Peacock Cave Lord isn't actually dead. That's my guess. At this time, the radiant golden dragon said indifferently as he looked at Lin Ling, what you said is almost the same. However, the only difference is that I don't think he has more than 10 of those feathers, and I only got 1. Lin Ling said as he strode away after finishing his words. Now that he had unleashed all of his trump cards, he needed some time to recover. Otherwise, if he were to encounter the Peacock Cave Lord again, he would be completely defenseless. Go! After watching Lin Ling leave, the light golden dragon and the others pondered for a moment and decided to follow him. This was because they realized that this seemed to be the cave of demons. With their strength, even if they had recovered, they were clearly no match for these cave masters. Therefore, following Lin Ling would definitely be safer. Lin Ling also sensed the people following behind him. He sneered and ignored them. Then, he found a quiet cave and sat down cross-legged to recover. Looking at him, he seemed to be unscrupulous. However, the radiant golden dragon and the others did not dare to think too much. This was because they had personally witnessed Lin Ling battling the Steel Torrent, the 3 divine marshals, and the 72 cave masters. Therefore, in their hearts, Lin Ling seemed to have no limits. Even now, they were not sure if Lin Ling had unleashed his full strength. Therefore, even if they were asked to sneak up on Lin Ling, they would not dare. This time, I have gained a lot. This cave master feather and those few smaller feathers are all good treasures. If I can refine them, my early-stage lower deity realm will be stabilized. Lin Ling rubbed the mysterious feather with his finger and then sealed it in his spatial finger to prevent the Peacock Cave Master from using the feather to follow him. And now, although Lin Ling was an early-stage lower deity, his realm was not stable. Once it stabilized, Lin Ling could cultivate all the martial arts and divine abilities again, greatly increasing his divine energy. Currently, his Bodhi Testimony divine art, Loai's true form, and human sovereign's flame had not been cultivated to the limit. The same went for the twin dragon innate skill, wraith jellyfish, and chaotic body. They could all increase his divine energy to a certain extent. Time passed just like that. Lin Ling was not in a hurry to refine the treasures. Instead, he was constantly recovering. After his soul energy had recovered, he stood up calmly and looked into the distance, deep in thought. Lin Ling, I reckon that the immortal spirit hegemony is chasing after you outside. And in the cave, the Peacock Cave Master is also chasing after you. You have to be more careful from now on. At this moment, Luotian stood up and said calmly. They are not chasing after me, they are chasing after us. Lin Ling glanced at her and corrected her. Damn it! Luotian cursed in her heart, but she nodded helplessly. You are right, they are chasing after us. So, what are your plans now? You want me to bring you out of this cave, right? Lin Ling did not answer, but asked back. However, he did not wait for Luotian and the rest to reply and said, coincidentally, I am also going back. You can follow me, but once you leave the cave, immediately get lost from my side. Okay. Luotian and the rest did not care about Lin Ling's rudeness and nodded. Lin Ling sensed the direction and then chose a cave to move forward. This cave was obviously not as smelly as before. It seemed that there were not many demons. Not long after they left, a large number of demons arrived. Then, their noses twitched and they cursed angrily, King, they have escaped. Damn it, that brat took my life feather and now he wants to escape. Find them, we must find them. An angry voice rang out in the cave. It was the Peacock Cave Master. As for outside the cave, in the distant sky, the 200,000-strong army was also searching everywhere. However, they attracted the attention of the 72 cave masters. An intense battle broke out between them and two of the cave masters. Of the 200,000-strong army, 70,000 to 80,000 were killed. Bastard! On the divine chariot, the three divine marshals ground their teeth. Because they had used 500,000 soldiers to kill the young man, more than half of them were killed or injured. However, not only did they not kill the young man, but he had also disappeared without a trace. While the two forces were looking for Lin Ling led Luotian and the rest through the cave. Along the way, they were safe and sound. Lin Ling's soul power quietly spread out to investigate the cave. However, he discovered that there were many powerful existences in this vast and boundless cave. Moreover, the cave extended in all directions, as if it led to the nest of the demons. Chapter 4396. However, the radiant golden dragon's face instantly turned ugly. No matter how strong I am, I can't compare to you. You're just acting tough. Although Lin Ling was praising him, Lin Ling was stronger than him. Therefore, he couldn't feel happy about it. I'm not acting tough. I'm just telling the truth. Lin Ling shook his head. The radiant golden dragon looked at Lin Ling and realized that the latter was neither arrogant nor impatient. Indeed, he didn't seem to be trying to suppress him. However, the more he thought about it, the more depressed he felt. Acting tough was the most fatal. Right, you said that he's related to the Ox Demon clan? At this time, Luotian asked curiously. When she saw Lin Ling nodding, she frowned and said, no wonder he's so strong. That's because the Ox Demon clan has the bloodline of the divine world. This clan is born as a monster. Once they're born, they're all divine embryos. Divine embryos of the superior gods. Seems like you're quite familiar with the Ox Demon clan. You must have been told by the Titanic Crescent god. Lin Ling looked at Luotian and smiled. Then, he thought about the group of people who were chasing him and asked, what's the immortal spirit hegemony nation? Is it a divine country left behind by the divine world? No, they're a divine country on the other side of the Kaiyuan River. However, it said that they were left behind during the era of the gods. Our Dragon Valley has been in contact with the immortal spirit hegemony nation many times. We know that they're very strong and have countless experts. The radiant golden dragon immediately explained upon hearing that. I thought they were from the divine world. So they're from the void of the 9 continents. What kind of country is this? They're courting death. Lin Ling immediately snorted. If he had the chance, he would bring Grandpa Treasure God and the others to settle the score. This way. After exchanging a few words, Lin Ling sensed a fishy stench coming from the surrounding caves. Therefore, he immediately chose another path. It's the Peacock Cave Lord chasing after us. Seeing that Lin Ling had increased his speed, the radiant golden dragon and the others did not dare to stay any longer. They caught up to Lin Ling and asked anxiously. I think so. However, this Peacock Cave Lord is also very powerful. At this point in time, it's not suitable for us to fight him head-on. After all, this is the cave. No one can guarantee that the other cave lords won't come. Lin Ling nodded and increased his speed again, leaping through the cave. After walking for a full hour, a large number of demons arrived, but they still could not find Lin Ling and the others. They were so angry that they gritted their teeth. What rich spiritual energy! Over here. As for Lin Ling, he was originally slowing down, but he suddenly sensed something, so he sped up again. After a long time, wisps of ancient spiritual energy assaulted their faces. The spiritual energy was so dense that even the radiant golden dragon and the others sensed it. At this moment, they all looked at Lin Ling, but Lin Ling did not say a word. He increased his speed and carefully moved forward. A huge cave within a cave quietly appeared in front of them. The sound of dripping water could be heard from within. On the ceiling of the cave, which was dozens of meters high, a large number of stalactites hung there, dripping spiritual liquid. Looking down, dense spring water spread out on the ground. It was so clear that one could see the bottom, and it emitted streams of dense spiritual energy. Holy spring. There were no less than 100 holy springs. At this moment, Lin Ling and the others narrowed their eyes and subconsciously licked their lips. Currently, holy springs were the best cultivation resources for the gods. They were born in the void after thousands of years. In the void of the 9 continents, except for Miao Shen's true inheritance, it was rare to see such a rare natural product. This also caused the cultivation of the gods in the void of the 9 continents to be slow. But here, a single cave had actually produced over 100 divine springs. Look! Suddenly, Luotian pointed to the front. Within the holy springs, a large number of figures were hidden in the dense spiritual energy. They were also eyeing the holy springs covetously. And these people were very unfamiliar. Looking carefully, they did not look like the demons of the 72 cave masters. Han Xie. Lin Ling looked quietly for a moment. Suddenly, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He recognized one of them. Han Xie? That name sounds familiar. Right, could it be the trial taker? Yes. At the side, San Ling seemed to have thought of something, and her eyes narrowed. That's right, it's him. So if I'm not wrong, those people are from the Spirit Nation. Lin Ling nodded. His words made Luotian and the others' expressions change slightly. However, Lin Ling quickly smiled and said, "Don't worry, there aren't many experts on their side. Other than Han Xie, the next one is the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face. I'll deal with the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face. As for Han Xie, if the bright golden dragon attacks, it should be able to suppress him. The one with the transparent face is Han Xie. He doesn't look weak, but it's worth a try." The bright golden dragon nodded and looked at the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face that Lin Ling mentioned. It discovered that this person's strength was unfathomable. Although he was an early-stage lower deity, his aura was not much weaker than a mid-stage lower deity. The talent of the yin-yang face is probably not weak. Then, the bright golden dragon said in a low voice. "Indeed, the feeling he gives me is stronger than the divine general of the immortal Spirit Nation. However, with the identity of the Spirit Nation, that person should be a divine spirit. Coupled with Han Xie, TSK, sending 2 divine spirits here, I'm afraid it's not easy." Lin Ling did not act rashly. He had a feeling that Han Xie had received some mission, so he was acting in secret. Wait a moment. Lin Ling secretly sent a voice transmission to the crowd. Then, he set up a spirit formation in the surroundings and concealed them. Just as the spirit formation was set up, a mysterious power spread out from the cave. It formed a world power that enveloped the entire cave. So close. Sensing that, Luotian and the others felt lucky. However, they were also afraid that Lin Ling's spirit formation would not be able to conceal them. Fortunately, that power did not seem to have sensed anything and disappeared. They are so cautious. I'm afraid that other than the divine spring, there are other treasures here. Xiao Er carefully stuck his head out, wanting to see more clearly. However, Lin Ling grabbed his head and pulled him back. Be careful, they are still investigating. At the same time, Lin Ling's voice floated out, giving everyone a fright. Generally speaking, after checking the surroundings and finding nothing strange, people would stop searching. Who would have thought that the people of the Spirit Kingdom would continue to search? If they had been careless and relaxed, they would have definitely been discovered. Everyone, relax and be enveloped by my power. Do not resist. Lin Ling's voice suddenly became anxious. Then, his soul power spread out and enveloped the crowd. Chapter 4397. Evil Ghost. Lin Ling's eyes flashed. On the island of Ling Kingdom, Han Xie had devoured the evil ghost. This meant that the current evil ghost was Han Xie, and Han Xie was also an evil ghost. Let's go. After an unknown period of time, the radiant golden dragon finally spoke in a low voice after seeing the evil spirits floating back one after another. Ling Kingdom had us search for some metal box. It's truly a hidden place. Is a mere metal box really that important? At this time, a woman's voice came from the cave. Lin Ling glanced around and immediately recognized that it was Long Ling from Spirit Light City. This mission isn't simple. The great god of Ling Kingdom personally ordered us to complete it. In addition, the great god of Ling Kingdom knows of the ancient times and can reverse the universe. He knows of the many treasures left behind in the god realm, but he sent us to search for the treasures in this place and others to search for them. From this, it can be seen that the metal box is truly important. Thus, we must obtain it. The hoarse voice belonged to the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face. Shift positions. Left 12 firmament supreme, right 36 great yin, right 82 revolutions. That's the divine spring. Murmuring voices came from the cave, allowing Lin Ling's group to understand that there was a pattern to the arrangement of the divine springs. I'll go get the metal box. You guys stay here and take the divine springs with you. The hoarse voice turned into a streak of light that shot into one of the divine springs. Metal box. Lin Ling finally smiled. He had never imagined that the metal box that Taoist Master of Many Treasures had requested would be found here. It was truly a case of searching high and low for something, only to find it without any effort. Strike. Next, Lin Ling no longer concealed himself and rushed out. In midair, a thunderous finger shot out from his hand and pierced through the chest of one of the women. She was Long Ling, whom he had met in Spirit Light City. Not good. That woman fell down and then anxiously shouted. Who's there? Han Xie's expression also changed. His body turned transparent as he looked in the direction that Lin Ling's group had come from. Dragon proud 9 heavens. At this moment, a domineering voice rang out behind Lin Ling. Light and golden light shot out explosively, transforming into an unstoppable dragon claw that clawed at Han Xie. Dragon race. Han Xie's eyes narrowed, and he immediately used his ultimate technique to clash with the radiant golden dragon. It's Lin Ling. The fallen dragon spirit also recognized Lin Ling, and its eyes were filled with malevolence. Die. However, Lin Ling showed no mercy. He stretched out his left hand and countless human king's flames engulfed the woman, burning her crazily. No, I'm Lord Yi's disciple. Please spare my life. The woman used to hate Lin Ling to death, but now that she was in a life-and-death situation, her hatred had weakened significantly. She used to hate Lin Ling because she felt that Lin Ling was similar to her. She would kill Lin Ling sooner or later. But now, she realized that the gap between her and Lin Ling was too big. She couldn't catch up to Lin Ling. However, Lin Ling didn't even look at her because Lingua had killed Lei Gong. He had always kept this grudge in his heart. Radiant Golden Dragon, Luoshan, stop him. We'll split the loot equally. After killing the woman, Lin Ling said to the crowd. All right. Luoshan and the others nodded. Although they hadn't completely buried the hatchet with Lin Ling, at least in front of Lingua, they were still xenophobic. Lin Ling, you've also come to the ear cauldron. Just as Lin Ling locked onto one of the divine springs, a complicated voice rang out, causing Lin Ling's gaze to shift. He was surprised because the person who spoke was Wang Shui. Back in Lei Gong's hall, Wang Shui and the city lord of Yi City tried to stop Lin Ling. In the end, Lin Ling defeated the city lord of Yi City and killed Wang Shui. At that time, Lin Ling had asked the city lord of Yi City if Wang Shui could be resurrected. The city lord of Yi City didn't answer him back then. But now, Lin Ling knew the answer. It seemed that this Ling Guo was indeed terrifying. He had the ability to resurrect experts. Senior Wang Shui, you lost to someone back then, causing you to leave Snow Wind Academy. Today, your opponent is also here. Go and defeat him yourself. Lin Ling ignored Wang Shui. His body moved and shot towards the holy spring. Stop that demon, Lin. Seeing this, Han Xie scolded. Every time he saw Lin Ling, nothing good would happen. As expected, this Lin Ling was indeed an old demon. You want to leave? Wang Shui shouted coldly and wanted to stop Lin Ling. But soon, a halberd appeared in front of him and blocked his path. An incomparably terrifying physical strength erupted. I remember you, Wang Shui, the one who cultivated the 8-9 demonic art. Come, let's see if you've become stronger after so many years. I'm the one who defeated you back then, Qing Mo, the one who cultivated the 8-9 mysterious art. The person who attacked was Qing Mo. His voice caused Wang Shui's expression to change drastically. He looked at his old enemy in disbelief. Wang Shui, coward. You didn't dare to deal with the humiliation you brought to Wind Rain Academy. Instead, you let Lin Ling wash away the humiliation. Do you still have any shame? After the 8-9 mysterious art appeared, Qing Mo's strength increased greatly. Wang Shui roared and used all his strength. Gulp. With everyone blocking him, Lin Ling successfully rushed into the divine spring. He was secretly relieved. If he hadn't promised Luoshan and the rest to follow him, he might not have had the chance to see the metal box. After all, if he was alone, Han Xie and the rest would definitely stop him. What rich spiritual qi! As he went down the divine spring, Lin Ling also felt the spiritual qi entering his body and stabilizing his cultivation. But soon, Lin Ling finally reached the bottom of the water. The area at the bottom of the water was not large, making Lin Ling feel as if he was at the bottom of a well. Looking ahead, a stone platform appeared there. A few ancient vines wrapped around a rusty iron box. It was very magical. In front of the stone platform, a middle-aged man carefully took out the iron box from the vines and fixed it. He was afraid that he would alarm something during the process. After a while, when the metal box was in his hand, the middle-aged man was visibly excited. Although the great god of Spirit Nation didn't tell me what was in the metal box, I volunteered to take on this task. It was a broken ancient book that I obtained during the investiture of the gods in the 9 states. It recorded that one of the strongest physical body cultivation techniques in the primordial age was hidden in a metal box. It was created by Pangu. The great god personally sealed it. If this is the legendary metal box, then I'll be able to obtain such a technique. Chapter 4398. With a burst of excitement, the middle-aged man stared at the stone tablet in his hand and suddenly frowned. As expected of a technique from the time of creation. The minimum requirement to practice it is the physical strength of 1,000,000 worlds. In today's world, there are very few people who have the power of 1,000,000 worlds. But it doesn't matter. After I go, I will cultivate my physical body and strive to reach the power of 1,000,000 worlds as soon as possible. You don't have the power of 1,000,000 worlds, but I do. Let me practice it. But at this moment, a cold shout suddenly came, and then a strong wind whistled, and a figure rushed toward the middle-aged man. This sudden change also made the middle-aged man's expression change, but he was still the Holy Spirit of the Spirit Kingdom. With a clap of his right hand, a sword flew out from behind him and slashed fiercely at the newcomer. Wind-seeking stance. A strong wind gathered, mixed with the terrifying power of the gods, and it was as if the sea was overturned. As soon as the sword was unleashed, it was fearless. After the sword was unleashed, the bottom of the holy spring was not affected at all. Instead, strong winds tore the void apart. The third stage. However, a low and deep sound came from the bottom of the water. Soon after, a gray-robed man quickly leaped forward. He was not afraid of being torn apart by the wild wind. He approached the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face. With a grab of his hand, he suddenly grabbed one of the stone tablets. Oh no! The middle-aged man narrowed his eyes because he did not expect that the mysterious person who suddenly appeared was so strong that he dared to resist his wind-seeking stance. It should be known that there were very few gods in the early stage of the lower god realm who could resist his sword. It was also because this sword carried the charm of the great way of wind. What a strong defense, but you want to take my treasure. Dream on. However, the middle-aged man was also very strong. He shouted angrily, and the yin-yang faces suddenly bloomed with light. In the light, one of the divine thoughts and the other of the demonic thoughts rushed toward Lin Ling. This was a 10th stage lower god embryo, and the limit was the level of a middle god. Come out. Sensing a terrible force coming toward him, Lin Ling shouted in a low voice, and the 7 divine embryos all bloomed at this moment. The 2 dragons roared, the chaos swallowed heaven and earth, the evil spirits stirred up life and death, the human king ruled the world, the thunder god calmed the wind and rain, and the Vajra guarded the center. The 7 divine embryos appeared at the same time and immediately resisted the great way of yin and yang. Lin Ling's left hand didn't stop. He grabbed another stone tablet without hesitation. That stone tablet recorded the information of the new world will host. Who are you? Seeing that his talent did not gain the upper hand. Of his 2 extremes and 3 questions, asking thunder style. As soon as this sword appeared, lightning erupted. The power of a god actually reached the 8,000 level. After all, this person was merely an early-stage low god, yet his strength was comparable to a mid-stage low god. This clearly showed how formidable he was. Seeing this, Lin Ling clasped his hands together, and lightning spat out from his hands. When the sword shot toward him, it quickly caught the terrifying sword. Almost at the same time, the small kunlun on his arm swam out and wrapped around one of the stone tablets. When it was about to wrap around the second stone tablet, a strange eye suddenly opened on the forehead of the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face. Countless small swords shot out from the eye, and these small swords looked like a single line. The speed of these small swords reached 300,000 world speed. 2 poles, 3 questions, lightning questioning. Obviously, he was paying more attention to Lin Ling, and did not dare to underestimate Lin Ling anymore. Thousands of swords as thick as fingers shot toward him, forcing the little kunlun to give up on the other stone tablet. Seal. In this short exchange, Lin Ling also knew how strong this person was. Probably not even an early lower god could match him, and he was much stronger than those immortal spirit nation. This spirit nation was indeed full of experts. The stairs of wisdom came out in a mighty manner, causing all the swords that were shooting towards him to freeze in place. However, the divine energy of these swords was beyond imagination. Therefore, they were only slowed down, and could not be sealed by Lin Ling. This made Lin Ling shocked again. Because after coming to the Ear Ox Cave, the step of wisdom had helped Lin Ling escape many times. But today, it was the first time that the seal failed. But compared to Lin Ling, the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face was even more astonished. This was because his lightning querying style came from a secret realm in the divine world, and it took him 30,000 years to comprehend it. It was also his trump card, and it had always been used to slay gods. It could even easily kill mid-stage low gods. But facing an early lower god junior, he did not have the slightest advantage. I've heard that the Ji-Er Ox Cave attracted countless gods and experts. I didn't believe it at first, but now I do. I'm afraid that this young man is even stronger than the sage progenitor. Only the young chief of the Ox Devil clan could stand up to him. But who is he? Several thoughts flashed through the middle-aged man's mind. Rumble. At this moment, a roar came from the stone platform behind him, as if something had been awakened. The vines that had wrapped around the iron box moved at this moment, as if they were dancing tentacles. Oh no, the mother of the 72 cave masters has woken up. Sensing this, the middle-aged man's expression changed instantly. He knew that he could not stay here for long. However, when he looked at Lin Ling again, Lin Ling had disappeared. Bastard! The middle-aged man roared, and with countless tiny electric swords, he rushed back the way he had come. Rumble! But at this moment, a fist came from above. Although the divine energy seemed to be only at the level of 6,000, the divine energy was terrifying, and it was mixed with unparalleled physical strength. At least 1,000,000 worlds of energy. The middle-aged man raised his head, and his eyes trembled. He was not shocked by the strength of the fist, but by the physical strength of someone who had exceeded 1,000,000 worlds of energy. Oh no, Pangu's strike. He instantly thought of the premise of practicing Pangu's strike, which was to have a physical strength of 1,000,000 worlds. It turned out that the gray-robed young man had already planned this. Rumble. The fist came down and destroyed a large number of rocks. However, the middle-aged man snorted coldly, and immediately, countless thin swords shot out and turned the hard rocks into dust. Then, he wanted to rush up and catch up with Lin Ling. However, at this moment, a tentacle-like vine shot out and wrapped around his leg. Damn it! This sudden change undoubtedly made the middle-aged man's heart skip a beat. He knew that the thing that bound him must be the awakened cave master demon mother. The gray-robed young man's fist was not an attack at all. The purpose was to tie him up and let him face the awakening of cave master demon mother. One had to know that there were 72 cave masters in this vast and boundless cavern. Some of them were extremely powerful and comparable to gods. Normally, these cave masters were in a deep slumber. Once they woke up, a calamity would definitely befall them. Chapter 43-99. But now, not only did he not obtain anything, he had even eaten a mouthful of dust. This hatred was comparable to the hatred of killing one's father. Most importantly, he still did not know who that person was. Gulyalu. On the other side, Lin Ling was rushing up the holy spring with an anxious expression because there were two experts below who were about to catch up. Especially the vine-like cave master, Lin Ling could feel that he was very, very strong. Of course, although it was dangerous, the rewards were not bad. He had obtained an ancient stone tablet. As for the other stone tablet, although Lin Ling did not obtain it, it was a rune that recorded the world will host. Lin Ling had already memorized it with his soul force. As long as he passed it to the giant ghost, he would know what to do next. Who was this world will host? Therefore, the remaining stone tablet was dispensable to Lin Ling. Boom! A moment later, Lin Ling rushed out of the holy spring. He looked around and realized that the battle outside the holy spring was also very intense. However, the spirit kingdom side could not withstand the attacks of the light golden dragon and was retreating. The remaining Xiao and the rest were frantically collecting the holy spring. Lin Ling. Seeing Lin Ling rush out, Xiao and the rest were overjoyed. Even the giant shadow that hated Lin Ling smiled. Although they had grudges with Lin Ling, they were still on Lin Ling's side in front of the spirit kingdom's great enemy. Moreover, their grudges with Lin Ling were not life and death grudges. Hurry up, don't take the rest of the holy spring. When Lin Ling saw that most of the holy spring had been collected, he immediately flew toward the radiant golden dragon. In mid-air, he threw a punch at it. Lin Ling, you two are bullying me. Among the Spirit Kingdom's experts present, Han Xie was undoubtedly the strongest. Seeing Lin Ling's sneak attack, he cursed angrily. However, Lin Ling sneered. He didn't need to give any face to Han Xie, so he didn't stop punching. Instead, he sped up. Right now, he was still in his gray robe state. That level of strength was naturally not something that Han Xie could block. Boom! Han Xie's heart violently beat. He also erupted with all his strength, wanting to block Lin Ling's punch. However, after the collision, a terrifying force impacted the entire cave, causing it to seem as if it was about to collapse. Then, Han Xie's right arm was blown to smithereens by the punch. You've become a god. After being injured, Han Xie kept retreating as he cried out in shock. During the battle on the island of Ling Nation, Lin Ling was not a deity at that time. Instead, he became a deity in the Dragon Palace after the battle. Therefore, Han Xie did not know about this at all. However, back then, Lin Ling had slaughtered everyone on the island of Ling Nation with the strength of a peak martial god. Now that he had become a deity, his strength was naturally beyond imagination. At that moment, Han Xie was filled with both hatred and fear. He hated that Lin Ling had become stronger and had always been above his head. He was afraid because after becoming stronger, Lin Ling had joined forces with the bright golden dragon. How could he resist? Where's Lord Yi? Where's Lord Yi? He thought of the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face and felt anxious. However, after Lin Ling heavily injured Han Xie, he pondered for a moment and ordered the bright golden dragon to retreat immediately. After all, although he wanted to kill Han Xie, this person was very powerful. He didn't know what divine ability he had that allowed him to resurrect. Therefore, he might not be able to kill him this time. If he wasted too much time and waited for the experts in the divine spring to come out, the consequences would be unimaginable. Running after snatching the treasure, this was the principle that Lin Ling had honed over the years. There are still 2 more divine springs. Don't we want them? Seeing that Lin Ling was about to leave, Luo Shen and the others were reluctant to part with him. No. Lin Ling took the lead and rushed into one of the caves. When the bright golden dragon and the others saw this, they immediately felt that something was wrong and quickly followed behind. Rumble. When they left, they also stirred up a mess at the entrance of the cave. After they left for the time it took 3 incense sticks to burn, the ground exploded open, and a figure in a sorry state charged out. He was covered in blood and was covered in injuries. Moreover, his long hair was disheveled, and Han Xie and the others were almost unable to recognize him. Naturally, he was the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face. Who was that person just now? Where did he run off to? After rushing out, the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face looked around and immediately knew that the gray-robed youth had an accomplice. As a result, Han Xie and the others didn't get any advantage. He went that way. The person just now was Lin Ling. Han Xie quickly said. Lin Ling? He's Lin Ling, one of the top 10 enemies of the Spirit Nation. The Lei Gong of the 4 great gods Lei Gong Hall. Hearing this, the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face was stunned and then became furious. No wonder he's so powerful. He has a strong background. Go after him. After speaking, he turned into a bolt of lightning and shot towards the cave that Lin Ling had rushed out of. His face was full of yin and yang and it was gloomy. Han Xie and the others were stunned and didn't want to chase after Lin Ling. This was because they felt that even if they caught up with him, Master Yi might not be able to kill Lin Ling in his current state. They also couldn't suppress the bright golden dragon and the others. Therefore, the outcome would still be miserable. Rumble. But at that moment, a gigantic tentacle rushed out from the divine spring where the middle-aged man had rushed out. The surface of the tentacle was covered in mucus, and it was constantly spewing out poisonous smoke. The entire cave was rapidly corroded by the poisonous smoke, turning it moist. Upon closer inspection, the cave had unknowingly become a monster's stomach. It was constantly squirming and it was very terrifying. What a powerful method. He has unknowingly set up a world. This must be the divine stairs. Hurry up and leave. That's the cave lord demon mother. She's very strong and we can't fight against her. In the distance, the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face's voice floated over. Han Xia and the others were sweating profusely and immediately chased after the middle-aged man. Moreover, they hated Lin Ling because they had found the treasure with great difficulty. However, in the end, they didn't get anything. Instead, they were in a situation where they were being chased. Share the holy spring. At this moment, in the cave, Lin Ling led the others and rushed forward quickly. Then, Lin Ling spoke. Lin Ling, how about 20 holy springs? We have a total of 110. Luoshan immediately said. Although Lin Ling had taken more, they all knew that Lin Ling had suppressed the strongest middle-aged man with the yin-yang face. Without Lin Ling, they wouldn't even get a single hair. Okay. Lin Ling didn't argue and immediately took the 20 holy springs. This was because he had a feeling that it would be very chaotic later. At that time, if everyone was separated, it would be difficult for him, Lin Ling, to get the holy springs. Bang! 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 At this moment, the sound of heaven and earth shattering suddenly came from the front, causing the entire cave to shake. What happened? Did they catch up? Chapter 4400. What? Hearing Lin Ling's words, everyone could not believe their ears. Don't worry about that. Speed up and charge forward. Lin Ling did not know where these mad bulls came from, but he could feel that they were terrifying. Not only were they terrifying, but they were also unafraid of death. This was because Lin Ling's soul force could sense that these mad bulls had smashed through a large number of caves. It was as if in the eyes of these mad bulls, this was not a cave, but a vast plain. Of course, along the way, many demons were crushed to death. Even if they did not die, they were trampled to death. Boom! Not long after Lin Ling and the others ran, the cave wall on the left finally cracked. Then, the first mad bull came out. At a closer look, this bull was as huge as a small mountain. It was covered in iron armor and its 4 limbs were blood-red in color. With a heavy stomp, it seemed to carry the power of 500,000 worlds. The bull's horns were like heavy swords. They could split mountains and seas, break through the void, as if they were tofu. Looking at the eyes under the bull's horns, they were red and constantly emitted smoke. Obviously, these bulls had gone mad and had lost their minds. They only wanted to trample all the obstacles in their way to death. It's that blue-haired man. Lin Ling made a guess after dodging the first mad bull. After all, the demons controlled by the 72 cave masters were different. Only the Ox Demon clan controlled demons that were similar to the Ox Demons. Boom! At this time, the cave wall in front of them cracked again. A mad bull came from the left and charged at Lin Ling. Die! At this time, Lin Ling did not care about hiding his strength. He finally unsheathed the tyrant song. Clenching his 5 fingers, Lin Ling slashed out fiercely. Boom! This sword also cut the mad bull into 2 halves. A large amount of blood spilled out and landed on the ground. It was actually continuously emitting water vapor. It was very mysterious. So fierce. Seeing this, Hero Luo and the rest gasped. Although they already knew that Lin Ling's strength was extraordinary, they were still shocked, and they saw with their own eyes that Lin Ling killed a cow as if he was cutting vegetables. "Everyone, leave it to fate. It's best not to get close to me." Then, Lin Ling shouted to everyone. He felt that these mad bulls came for him, so it was more dangerous to get close to him. Rumble. At the same time, the rock wall on the left began to peel off in large chunks. A large number of mad bulls began to appear, charging out wildly. This also caused Lin Ling and Luotian to separate. The scene was extremely chaotic. Die. Lin Ling held the Tyrant Song sword in his hand as a sea of blood surged. His killing intent soared to the heavens as he continuously killed the mad bulls that approached him. At the same time, he increased his speed and charged forward. The mad devil bull's goal was indeed Lin Ling, so even more mad devil bulls chased after Lin Ling. Luotian and the others were only facing a small portion of them. At that moment, the cave was torn open by a pair of large hands. Then, a giant appeared and chased after Lin Ling. This giant had short hair all over its body. Its muscles were solid, but it had the head of a bull and no eyes. It was very terrifying. Although its speed was not as fast as those mad bulls, it was very obvious that its strength was much stronger. Rumble. Then, more and more minotaur giants rushed out of the cave and chased after Lin Ling as if the sky was falling and the earth was splitting. Behind them, the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face also arrived. However, when they saw the scene in the distance, none of them dared to chase after Lin Ling. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. However, the cave was already in chaos because behind them, a large number of slimy tentacles slithered over like snakes. It was Cave Lord Demon Matriarch. Run! Seeing this, whether it was the middle-aged man with the yin-yang face or the light golden dragon and the others, they all wanted to run in all directions. Of course, Han Xia and the others also wanted to chase after the light golden dragon and the others. However, there were too many mad bulls, making it difficult for them to get close. I realized that ever since we met Lin Ling, we were either running for our lives or on the road to escape. Luotian said helplessly as they ran. Her words made everyone nod in agreement. They had not been in the Ox cave for long. However, they had already experienced the pursuit of the Immortal Spirit Nation and the pursuit of the Peacock Cave Lord. Now, there was the Spirit Nation, the Mad Bulls, and the Cave Lord Demon Matriarch. The entire Ox cave seemed to be in turmoil because of Lin Ling alone. The most speechless thing was that, as the person involved, Lin Ling seemed to be running for his life. However, in reality, he was the calmest. How lively! That was indeed the case. At this moment, Lin Ling realized that his speed was much faster than the mad devil bulls, so he wasn't too worried. He also realized that the third stage of the innate skill fusion could still be used for quite some time. This period of time was enough for him to rush out of the cave. Boom! After an unknown amount of time, Lin Ling successfully rushed out of the cave. He then took out the sound transmission talisman and checked it. Then, he immediately rushed towards the direction of the camp in the valley. He had just left when the cave he was in previously exploded. Countless mad demon bulls galloped in the sky and chased after Lin Ling in a grandiose manner. From afar, one could see sand and dust churning. It was an extremely shocking sight. Interesting. Is that blue-haired man jealous? Lin Ling quickly flew through the sky. When he realized that the mad bulls were not giving up, the corners of his mouth curled into a disdainful smile. Found him. Over there. However, at that moment, a murderous voice came from ahead. Looking over, a flood of steel was sweeping over. It was the army of the Immortal Spirit Nation. They're still looking for me? It's been hard on them. Lin Ling was stunned as he stared at the flood of steel rushing over. However, he soon revealed a sinister smile. It was hard enough for the immortal spirit nation to chase after him. In order to reward them, he would give them a herd of mad bulls. Therefore, Lin Ling did not avoid them. Instead, he faced them head-on. In order to hide the mad bulls behind him, Lin Ling also activated the Human King's flame and the Luai's lightning, creating a colorful scene. Although Lin Ling knew that the flood of steel in front of him would discover the mad bulls sooner or later, they had suppressed their anger for so many days. Even if they did discover him, they would not take it to heart. "I've finally found you. Die." At that moment, a majestic dragon-tiger chariot appeared in front of the flood of steel. On the divine chariot, 3 divine commanders glared angrily at Lin Ling. Their eyes were filled with gloominess and anger as if they were about to swallow him whole. During the few days of searching for Lin Ling, they had already fought several times with the cave masters of the 72 caves. There were countless casualties. If they had not escaped quickly, they would have been completely wiped out. When they thought about how the army of 500,000 deities had suddenly become more than 100,000, they immediately felt their hearts ache. They did not know how to answer to the immortal spirit nation. Chapter 4401. However, just as they were getting closer and closer to Lin Ling, a pitch-black ball of mud suddenly shot towards them. It was Lin Ling's final ball of lightning mud. Boom! The mud ball exploded, forming a terrifying thunderstorm that swept out in all directions. However, this time, the 3 divine marshals were not injured because they had already suffered once. Now that they saw Lin Ling throw out the ball of lightning mud, they had already sensed it and activated their strongest defensive abilities, joining forces to block the thunderstorm. Let's see what other tricks you have. Come on, use them all. Is there only one left? Looks like it's your last trump card. How do you want to die? We'll satisfy you. Allowing the terrifying lightning to sweep over them, the 3 hid in the divine chariot and shouted crazily. Lin Ling was getting closer and closer to them. He sneered, and at the same time, the lightning and flames behind him began to retract, revealing the mad bulls that were billowing with dust. "I've made you wait for so long. To show my respect, I'll give you a big gift." A soft voice drifted out from Lin Ling's mouth, causing the 3 divine marshals to be stunned. Their gazes finally landed on the raging herd of mad bulls behind them. For a moment, they were all stunned, their eyes trembling. The scene in front of them was simply too shocking. Not only were there mad bulls, but there was also a giant bull demon, which made them feel extremely terrified. Of course, some things were only shocking on the surface. If they really met force with force, they might not be so strong. The 3 divine marshals, who had been fighting for many years, knew this best. At some point, they even thought that this was Lin Ling's smokescreen to scare them. However, they still had more than 100,000 soldiers and 3 mid-stage lower gods. Would they be afraid? The answer was no. Very good mad bulls, they look very grand. I love eating beef the most. Inform the soldiers later that we'll have beef stew tonight. Braised beef, iron plate beef tendon, and hot and sour beef meatballs are my favorite. The 3 divine marshals spoke louder and louder, and in the end, they even laughed loudly. I've loved eating cow feasts since I was young. However, there are too few cows. It's not even enough for each of us to have a bite. Behind the 3 divine marshals, the rolling steel flood also let out thunderous cheers. Their momentum was earth-shattering as they leaped forward with murderous intent. However, Lin Ling's speed did not slow down. He rushed into the flood of steel, and his sword took a life. However, the remaining steel flood army already knew how difficult it was to deal with Lin Ling. So, when facing Lin Ling, they maintained a defensive posture, planning to trap and kill Lin Ling one step at a time. And with over 100,000 of them joining forces, their defense was naturally unquestionable. However, while they were fully focused on guarding against Lin Ling, they had missed the mad devilish bull that was charging towards them. Puff! The person on the outermost perimeter was struck by a red-eyed mad demon bull. Its sharp horns pierced through the man's chest, and even his spirit essence could not block the impact of the horns. That person looked at his bloody chest and lowered his head in disbelief. A cow feast? Just as he finished speaking, the mad demon bull swung its head, and his entire body was torn apart. What? Why is there such a powerful bull? This sudden change gave everyone a fright. Boom! However, at this time, another mad demon bull arrived. Its horns were thick and heavy, as if they were going to pierce through the sky. Scram! An expert attacked. A long spear shot out like a meteor toward the mad demon bull. He angrily said, "A cow feast should be a cow feast." Gotcha. However, the mad demon bull crashed into him, and the long spear broke. Even the power of a god could not block the bull's charge. Poochie. The bull crashed between the legs of the person who attacked with the spear, and the sound of an egg breaking quietly rang out. As for the expert whose legs were hit, his face was initially filled with arrogance, but it gradually turned red, and finally turned pale. My eggs! He let out a loud roar, but unfortunately, it was the last sentence he uttered in his life. This was because even more mad demon bulls were charging toward him from behind, and they trampled him into meat paste. Not good, these bulls have very powerful physical strength. This change finally caused the army to react. It was precisely because of their physical strength that they did not realize how terrifying the mad demon bulls were. After all, physical strength could not be compared to world energy and divine energy. If they did not attack, it would be very difficult to get a rough idea of their strength. Buzz! Behind the mad demon bulls, an ox-headed giant rushed over with large strides. It waved its fists, and with every punch, beautiful flowers bloomed in the sky, and a bloody mist gushed out. This ox-headed giant was even more terrifying than the mad demon bulls. Judging from its strength, it was probably comparable to a mid-stage lower god. Stop them! The army was alarmed, and they gathered into a human formation to resist the bull formation. Boom! Unfortunately, they could not stop the charge of the mad devil bulls. Countless deities were trampled to death. It was as if these mad devil bulls had lost their minds. They only had one goal in mind, and that was Lin Ling. Therefore, all the obstacles in their way were swept away. This beef is too fierce, isn't it? How am I supposed to eat it? Behind them, the three divine commanders stood dumbfounded on their divine chariots. Their expressions were as if their parents had died. This was because the situation had changed too quickly. In the blink of an eye, their army had been utterly defeated. They had either been trampled to death or rammed to death. Was this the all-bull feast they had imagined? Kill these mad bulls. Lei Gong, let's see what other tricks you have up your sleeve. Seeing that more and more people were dying, the eyes of the three divine commanders turned red. Their army of 500,000 had come to kill Lei Gong, but now, only 100,000 of them were left. They could not swallow this humiliation. Kill! The Steel Flood's eyes turned red as well. They unleashed all of their power, determined to fight to the death with the mad devil bulls. From their point of view, these mad bulls were definitely Lin Ling's handiwork. Since Lin Ling had already caused the deaths of so many of their people, they had to cut off one of Lin Ling's wings and kill these mad bulls. Time passed quietly. When they looked at Lin Ling again, he had already disappeared into the distance. Not only was he not pursued by the immortal spirits or the hegemony nation, even the mad demon bulls had been blocked. Thank you. Lin Ling smiled and said to the distant sky. Kill. 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 I'll fight you to the death. Boom. 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 In the distant sky, the battle was gradually coming to an end. However, upon closer inspection, the sky was filled with blood. Human flesh and cow limbs were scattered everywhere. It was a catastrophe. Die. The remaining Minotaur giants were falling one by one. This was because the three divine commanders had also made their move. After cutting off the heads of the Minotaur giants, they roared to the sky, venting the anger in their hearts. Come on, Lei Gong. What other tricks do you have? Use them all. Seeing the mad bulls getting weaker and weaker, the white-browed elder's face was covered in blood as he roared in excitement. Chapter 4402. Look, these bulls have already had their limbs cut off, yet they're still crawling. Huh, how pitiful. They stared at the mad Satan bulls that had yet to die and laughed complacently. They realized that these poor bulls were still crawling. Furthermore, they were crawling with great difficulty past the people and into the distance. Something's not right. These bulls don't seem to be hostile towards us. Suddenly, the scholarly divine marshal frowned. Let me try. Someone rushed over and stepped on the mad Satan bull that was crawling. He then realized that the mad Satan bull was completely ignoring him. It was as if it did not see him at all. Once he blocked its path, the mad Satan bull's eyes turned red and it looked as if it was going to fight to the death. Something's not right. It seems to be ignoring us. Yeah, could it be, could it be? The people exclaimed as they vaguely guessed what was going on. Could it be that the mad Satan bulls aren't targeting us, but Lei Gong? The white-browed elder's pupils constricted as he spoke in disbelief. Silence. The sky suddenly became suffocatingly silent. Everyone's jaws dropped and they almost gave themselves a tight slap. It means that if we don't stop these mad bulls, they can kill the Thunder God with just these mad bulls alone. That seems to be the case. This means that we're helping Lei Gong block the mad Satan bulls. This is so infuriating. After thoroughly thinking it through, the people could no longer care about their injuries and vomited blood in anger. The army of 500,000 was only left with 10 to 20,000 soldiers. However, Lei Gong was still alive. Most importantly, they had volunteered to help Lei Gong block the mad Satan bulls. Report this to the Lord. The scholarly divine marshal said through gritted teeth. Although it was humiliating, he also knew that the losses of the army were beyond imagination. And the reason for all of this was that they had underestimated their enemy. Trash. Not long after, a voice drifted into everyone's ears. The reprimand made everyone shut their mouths. They had lost all face. Of the 9 prefectures void 4 great gods, your majesty Lei Gong. Very good, very good. You took the initiative to provoke our immortal spirit hegemony nation. Pass down my order. The army will stop advancing and pursue Lei Gong with all their might. The majestic voice drifted out once again. My lord, I know where he went. A silver iron plate appeared in front of the white-browed elder. It was the fortune divine stone, and it had found out the whereabouts of Lin Ling. On the other side, Lin Ling flew all the way, and gradually, the tranquil valley appeared in front of him. Lord Lei Gong. It was Saint Guy. He smiled excitedly and spread the news of Lin Ling's return throughout the valley. After a short while, all the experts of the Thunder God Palace also returned. Brother Ling. Calm. Lin Ling looked at everyone and smiled. He glanced around and immediately realized that everyone's strength had improved greatly. Especially the people of the God Slayer Alliance, many of whom had stepped into the ranks of gods. Lin Ling was surprised. We collected treasures nearby and found many treasures for breaking through, so we all broke through smoothly. Yu Yu explained when she saw Lin Ling's surprised expression. Yu Yu, even you broke through. Our Lei Gong Hall's overall strength has reached a new level. Lin Ling nodded in satisfaction and led the group into the valley. As soon as they landed, he immediately sensed a voice from the pangolin. Lin Ling smiled and replied to the pangolin. Then, he took out a large amount of divine spring and black essence, which shocked everyone. Wow, Lin Ling, where did you get these treasures? Nan Wufengyu exclaimed. Lin Ling's harvest alone was comparable to their Lei Gong Hall's harvest. That's the black essence. Young Qilin was also surprised. When they came to the divine realm, they also encountered this kind of black essence. They were very difficult to deal with, so he was surprised at how Lin Ling hunted this kind of black essence. Everyone, take the cultivation treasures you need. Lin Ling smiled and looked at everyone. Now that the Ear Ox Cave was full of experts, the stronger the Lei Gong Hall was, the better it was for Lin Ling and everyone else. Lord Lei Gong, this is not necessary. During this time, our Lei Gong Hall has been exploring the surrounding area and obtained many treasures. These treasures should be left for Lord Lei Gong's cultivation. An old man immediately smiled and looked at Lin Ling. Lin Ling glanced and found that the old man's strength had also increased. This made him nod. This place was indeed the divine realm. There were many more treasures here than in the void of the 9 continents. How about this? I will leave a portion of these treasures to set up a barrier formation. The rest will be used for cultivation. Lin Ling pondered. He had a feeling that after the immortal spirit hegemony nation suffered such a big loss, they would definitely come back. So, it was better to set up a powerful barrier formation to welcome them. Moreover, there were too many experts in the Ear Ox Cave. One more safe place to set up camp would be much safer. Then, Lin Ling gave the order for the crowd to continue searching for treasures in the vicinity. As for Lin Ling, he began to set up a grand spirit formation. In order to set up a powerful barrier formation, treasures were indispensable. Without rare treasures to provide the source of power, no barrier formation could last for long. Unfortunately, the universal Qingtian formation was left in Lei Gong Hall. Otherwise, Lin Ling would not have to go through so much trouble. This formation is for defense. After all, an offensive formation requires more treasures. Lin Ling closed his eyes slightly. His soul power shrouded the entire valley. Then, he sprinkled streams of divine spring water. Pangolin, help me. Then, Lin Ling transmitted his voice to the pangolin in the valley. As the pangolin was good at digging holes, if it helped set up the barrier formation, the speed would be doubled. Set up the mini Kunlun divine formation. Lin Ling pondered for a moment and finally made a decision. After he stepped into the 9th level martial god realm, the divine inheritance treasure had left behind a grand supreme Dao barrier formation. The mini Kunlun divine formation came from that grand supreme Dao. This formation was created by imitating the Kunlun divine mirror, one of the 12 divine artifacts of the primordial era. It could see the past and present and could travel through time. However, the mini Kunlun divine formation set up by Lin Ling was imitating the Kunlun divine mirror. Naturally, it did not have such power, but it was still not to be underestimated. Lin Ling speculated that even late-stage lower deities would not be able to break out of the formation if they were trapped in it. This was because the formation did not have any offensive power. Even its defensive power was not very strong. The only advantage it had was that it could teleport people to another place. That was all. Chapter 4403. Time passed quietly. Lin Ling's soul power was very strong. After 3 days, the minor Kunlun Heaven's secret array was finally completed. On the surface, there was no change in the surroundings of the valley. However, it gave people the feeling that there were many more light rays. It was as if there were many small mirrors hidden in the forest. Finally, it's done. Looking at the completed array, Lin Ling let out a sigh of relief. He thanked the pangolin and told it the chant to enter the array. Then, he entered into a state of cultivation. Now, he had used up all his divine stones. However, he still had a lot of black essence. Refine. Lin Ling first refined the black essence. It formed an ancient spiritual energy that lingered in his 7 dantians. This spiritual energy was clearly different from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It had a mysterious energy similar to longevity. No wonder the immortal spirit hegemony nation called the black essence longevity spirit. This was because the longevity spirit seemed to be the symbol of the longevity of heaven and earth. So comfortable. When refining the black essence longevity spirit, Lin Ling felt very comfortable. It was as if he was bathing in the sun. However, after becoming a lower god, any god's cultivation progress would be very slow. Only by accumulating time could they make a big leap. Therefore, when Lin Ling refined all the black essence longevity spirit, his 7 dantians only made a little progress. It seemed that there was still a long way to go before he could stabilize the realm of lower god. Li. Even so, Lin Ling felt that his strength had increased. His divine energy was more vigorous and pure. His physical strength had increased by 500,000 worlds. Now, even if he did not fuse with his innate talent, he would have 1,000,000 worlds. If he fused with his 3rd innate talent, he would reach a terrifying 2,000,000 worlds. As for his speed, it had also increased by leaps and bounds. His basic speed was 200,000 worlds. If he fused with his 3rd innate talent, he would reach a terrifying 300,000 worlds. There are strong and weak low-level deities. For example, the Steel Torrent army of the Celestial Spirit Hegemony Nation, although they are all early-stage low-level deities, their strength can't withstand a single blow. That middle-aged man with the yin-yang face is also an early-stage low-level deity, but his strength is slightly stronger than mine. Lin Ling muttered to himself. He also knew that there were many factors that determined one's strength, such as the divine embryo, the power of divinity, treasures, and so on. But now, there were very few early-stage low gods who could pose a threat to Lin Ling. Next, let's comprehend the power of God. Then, Lin Ling began to comprehend the Luai's true body, the human king's flame, and the Bodhi testimony divine art. He was very clear that the so-called gods were actually also determined by accumulation. The more accumulation one had, the stronger one would be, and the more one would be able to come into contact with the great Tao of Void. Time quietly passed, and Lin Ling's divine power also continued to increase. His basic divine power finally reached 3,000 strands, and if he used his innate talent to fuse them, he would be able to raise it to 7,000 strands of divine power. Adding the divine essence and physical strength of his 7 dantian, he had almost surpassed 10,000 strands of divine power. The power of the force of heaven. But this time, other than the Luai's true body that had activated the 5th stage, the human king's flame and the Bodhi testimony divine art did not increase much. But the 5th stage of the Luai's true body had increased Lin Ling's divine power by 1,000 strands, and his world speed by 100,000. So now, Lin Ling's 3rd stage innate talent had reached 400,000 world speed. It could be said that in terms of divine power, Lin Ling might not have the most amount of divine power, but in terms of speed, there were not many low gods who could catch up with him. Even mid-stage low gods were few and far between. This time, my strength has increased by more than 30%. If I were to encounter that middle-aged man again, I would be able to put up a fight against him and not be at a disadvantage. After finishing his cultivation, Lin Ling felt refreshed. It was as though he could float away with the wind and enter the great Tao of Void at any time. Pangu's strike. Soon after, a stone tablet appeared in Lin Ling's hand. This was the stone tablet that he had snatched from the iron box. And upon closer inspection, the stone tablet had been forcibly torn into two halves. The original stone tablet looked more like a stone tablet, and on the modeled stone tablet, there were three big words, Pangu's strike. Looking at those three ancient words, Lin Ling's heart instantly surged. Those three big words were not neatly written, but they gave off a majestic feeling, as though those three words represented the great Tao of heaven and earth. One of the strongest cultivation techniques of the ancient era. Lin Ling licked his lips. He knew that he had obtained a treasure. If this cultivation technique were to spread to the void of the 9 prefectures, it would be enough to shake the heavens and earth, and cause all the gods and Buddhas to go crazy. Because the two words, Pangu's strike, represented everything. Next, Lin Ling looked at it carefully. Although the words recorded in the stone tablet were very complicated, these words seemed to be the ancestor of all words, so Lin Ling could barely understand them. But even though he could understand them, it was difficult to understand them. Because what was recorded in these words was the supreme divine ability of heaven and earth. Just like that, Lin Ling held the stone tablet in his hand and continued to comprehend. After 3,000 years of bitter cultivation in the kingdom of eternity, he had already touched the great Tao. In addition, his soul power was strong, so he had a better understanding of those ancient words. And this Pangu's strike only had 5 moves, which were heaven-splitting break, earth-shattering, soul-shocking, heaven and earth slash, and premier fight. The 5 moves seemed simple, but in fact, they were broad and profound and all-encompassing. What was recorded in the stone tablet was the first move, heaven-splitting break. This move was like Pangu's heaven-splitting break, a move that could shatter heaven, earth, mystic, and yellow. It was as famous as the #1 body cultivation method, the Pangu's true martial art. In fact, the Pangu's strike was a move, but the Pangu's true martial art was the true body cultivation method. Only by cultivating both at the same time could one achieve Pangu's true martial art. Body, invincible heaven and earth. So powerful. Lin Ling continued to comprehend, and his heart became increasingly excited. Now, he hadn't obtained the Pangu's true martial art, and he had only obtained the first move of the Pangu's strike. But he had a feeling that this would be his strongest physical attack, and it might even be his strongest attack for a long time. Ha! As Lin Ling continued to comprehend, a blurry figure appeared in his mind. This person struck out with a palm, landing in heaven, earth, mystic, and yellow, directly splitting open the world of primordial chaos. It was a very simple move, but it contained a profound great Tao. Even if one could see it clearly, it was very difficult to learn. Moreover, this was the second step. The prerequisite for the first step was that one had to have the physical strength of 1,000,000 worlds. But Lin Ling had clearly met this requirement. With my comprehension of the great Tao and powerful soul force, I still can't figure it out. Lin Ling stood up, and then sank into the ground. After passing through the pangolin's nest, Lin Ling had already appeared 10,000 miles underground. Then, he continued to use that move, and his palm continued to strike down. That's not right. I clearly remember it being like this. Why does it feel different after I use it? Again. This time, I feel a trace of charm. Not good. The feeling I felt before has disappeared again. It was a simple move, but it consumed Lin Ling's blood, sweat, and tears. He maintained the same posture, and constantly practiced and explored. The 1,000th move. The 1,000th move. The 1,000th move. The 1,000th move. 10 million. Chapter 4404. It was as if Lin Ling was possessed. Time passed by quietly. Under the constant cultivation and comprehension, his soul force was also quietly increasing as if it was being nourished by the great Tao. And on his body, a divine might that could split heaven and earth was quietly sprouting like a seed. Rumble. After an unknown amount of time, when Lin Ling once again maintained the posture of slashing out with his palm, the ground suddenly continued to shake. Under that palm, the endless divine earth under Lin Ling's feet seemed to be squeezed by a powerful force. Then, after a wave of impact, it began to turn into powder. Success! Lin Ling's body trembled as he stared at his palm in disbelief. When he activated that palm, he felt as if he had turned into Pangu, splitting heaven and earth, creating his own great Tao. And this palm also made Lin Ling realize that the power it contained was double of his physical strength. Now, Lin Ling's basic physical strength was 1 million worlds. If it was doubled, it would be 2 million worlds. And this was the premise of not using the third stage talent fusion. If it was the third stage, the previous palm would have reached 4 million worlds. How terrifying, what a powerful technique. Lin Ling was shocked. Although it was only a one-fold increase in physical strength, one should know that Lin Ling only had the physical strength of 1 million worlds. What if it increased in the future? It would reach 2 million, 3 million, or even 5 million. At that time, Lin Ling's attack would reach 10 million. World power. What kind of concept was this? Destroying 10 million worlds with a wave of his hand. This power was terrifying. It was probably comparable to the power of 100,000 gods. Therefore, Lin Ling was clear that Pangu's first attack, split the heavens, was indeed worthy of having the power to split heaven and earth. Lin Ling maintained this posture as he constantly recalled the feeling from before. Then, it was deeply engraved in his soul. Rumble. After a long time, when Lin Ling's soul was deeply branded with that feeling, the earth shook once more. But this time, the shaking came from the top of his head. Almost at the same time, Lin Ling opened his eyes, and a wild aura emanated from the depths of his eyes. This wild aura was the most primitive and ancient aura of Pangu. He smiled faintly and said, "You're really slow. You only came to me now." His soul force could clearly sense that around the valley, an army of 500,000 had arrived. All kinds of divine chariots and divine cannons were ready, and they were glaring at the enemy like a tiger watching its prey. Lin Ling sneered and stepped forward. Rumble. At this moment, outside the valley, the army had gathered. The Qilin, Green Dragon, and White Tiger divine cannons were firing continuously into the sky, illuminating the entire area. Whoosh! Whoosh! Looking to the left, tens of thousands of arrows filled the sky. It was extraordinarily beautiful. Those arrows formed a huge bow in the sky. It was majestic. Ha! On the right, tens of thousands of soldiers raised their spears. Their spears were like a gale that shook the heavens and the earth. In the middle was an endless shield that was as impregnable as a fortress. This army of 500,000 was clearly stronger than the steel torrent that chased after Lin Ling. They were true elites. Although their strength was also at the early lower god level, they had fought together for many years and could advance and retreat together. They had already formed a sense of kinship. Moreover, their formations were more than twice as powerful as before. TSK, so this is the immortal spirit hegemony nation? How arrogant, showing off their strength the moment they arrived. In the valley, treasured god Nanwu Fengyu and the others calmly looked at the army of 500,000 in the distance. They were not worried at all because before Lin Ling went into seclusion, he had told them that the immortal spirit hegemony nation could come at any time. In addition, Lin Ling had set up a barrier here, so they were naturally not worried. They were nervous. TSK, I heard from Lord Lei Gong that this immortal spirit hegemony nation came from the other side of the Kai Yuan River, the same place as the Dragon Valley. But now, it seems that this immortal spirit hegemony nation has countless experts. Young Beast Lord couldn't help but praise. Although they are called gods, even if they were placed in the divine world back then, they would probably be cannon fodder existences. Such gods, other than relying on numbers, aren't much of a threat. Emperor God Zhang Gang said with a smile. He had returned from the era of gods back then, so he naturally knew the strength of the divine world back then. To be honest, the potential of our 9 continents void is greater because there are more warriors there. It's just that our foundation is not as strong as that bastard nation. However, if that bastard nation wants to devour our Lei Gong Hall, it's not that I'm looking down on them, but they are dreaming. Treasure God Nan Wu Fengyu laughed again. While they were talking, the army of 500,000 in the distance was still surging. Moreover, there was a divine chariot pulled by 50 divine dragons in front of the army. There was only one person on the chariot, a youth wearing a white robe and a feathered crown. That's the 9 continents void's Lei Gong Hall, one of the 4 great gods of the 9 continents void? How disappointing. Ever since Lei Gong fell, the Hall of Lei Gong has fallen into decline. Now, it can only hide in this small valley. The youth said with pity. Of course, there was also a hint of disdain in his words. Immortal Master, although the Hall of Lei Gong has fallen, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. That new Lei Gong is still quite amazing. He killed one of our divine marshals and killed our 500,000 soldiers. This grudge must be avenged. In front of the chariot, 6 divine marshals stood there. One of them, an old man with white eyebrows, angrily said. That's because you guys are trash. I heard that the army died in the Mad Bull Formation. This Mad Bull Formation was something that Lei Gong brought upon himself. In the end, you guys blocked the calamity for him. Sigh, it seems that sometimes, being strong doesn't mean that you can lead an army. In my opinion, you guys have cultivated too much that your brains have gone stupid. Hearing this, the other divine marshals immediately mocked. Don't go too far. Being hit while they were down, the 3 divine marshals with white eyebrows' faces instantly turned ugly. Alright. What's the point of quarreling with one another? However, at this moment, the youth in white waved his hand and said calmly, although we sacrificed 500,000 soldiers, the Hall of Lei Gong will compensate us. Moreover, I also believe in the saying that a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Therefore, although the Hall of Lei Gong has fallen, it still has many experts. Let's use them to make up for our lost army. Immortal Master is wise. This is a brilliant move. Wonderful. Hearing this, the divine marshals immediately flattered him. The youth in white laughed and said, everything has its pros and cons. You guys should learn to be open-minded. This is the true Void Dao. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.